All right, all right, all right. We should be here. I am just perplexed. I guess that's all I can say. Um, we reset the internet like 5 times in between last night and today. There's no wind, there's no rain. Did speed tests, everything was good. We were good for a good hour and a half. And then I don't know. I don't know, guys. I just sorry. That's all I can say is sorry. And Maritza, I owe a huge apology because I'm like, oh, Maritza, it's just you. No one else is buffering. I think that's when it started. And it was so quick. It was so quick. I totally missed it. So apologies for that. Please. I just apologies. And friends, get out. I mean, I don't have to say. There's really nothing to say. So I just want to give everybody maybe a minute or two, just to kind of find us again. So while we're waiting, anybody have any questions? Anybody want to just shoot the, you know what? Well, not the messenger. That's not what I mean. I mean, shoot the, So we'll have a little bit more water, mm, and we'll see what happens. We'll just see what happens. I will tell you. Now, I have another class scheduled for tomorrow night, and that is the June Traveler's Notebook setup. So whatever, I don't even know. Let's see. Jen's Happy Place said YouTube has been doing this on various lives lately. Really? So that's what well, here's the other thing. I will, Terry, I will. Absolutely. I will call you later. Thank you. Thank Bob, please. But Jen's Happy Place, that's the one thing I didn't do. I didn't do a little research to see if it's something that's happening with lots of people on YouTube that are live streaming or whatever. Because if that's what's going on, and it's a YouTube thing, I mean, I don't know. If it's a YouTube thing, then I don't know. Kathy said, I'm done with dinner. What page are we on? So Kathy, we have just finished this. Oh, they're over here. This is the one that we were working on. So we are at the top of page 5. All right, top of page 5. This is where we are. We're going to. Paula said, I think it is a YouTube issue. Well, guess what? If it's, I don't know, does it make us feel any better if it's a YouTube issue? I guess it doesn't matter whose issue it is, right? It's just a bummer that there's an issue. So, again, I want to give just let's just give a couple more minutes. I'm going to make sure that my little screen is clean here, so you're going to see it look really weird for a minute. That's me. That's not the YouTube. That's not the internet doing that. That's me just making sure that that camera's clean through all of this. So um yeah, it's Thursday night, right? Thursday night. Weekend is no Thursday. Oh my gosh, it's Wednesday. I don't even know. Wednesday night. Yes, we are back, Wendy. I'm glad that you found us. It may take people a little while to find us, or people will be like, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna pack it up and call it a night. I'm not gonna pack it up and call it a night. Paula, oh, she said maybe they may need more bandwidth. I don't know. That would be crazy, right? You would think that YouTube would have all the, I don't know, who knows? But I will do some research because it never even occurred to me. I always just assume it's my problem, but it may be a YouTube problem. I don't know. Christina has a question while we're just giving everybody maybe another minute or two. If you want to fast forward, you don't want to, if you're watching live, you can't fast forward. But if you're watching the replay, you can fast forward this little part where we just wait for maybe more people to find us and then we'll get going again. Christina has a random question. Lovely. I love it. Will you be at Little Craft Fest in October? Missed you in April. Christina, yes. I will be there in October. We are a silver sponsor this time, and we will have 4 big tables. So, 4 booths, for whatever you call it, but 4 tables. I will also be needing workshops again. So, very excited to be back to do Little Craft Fest in October. We've done them all. We did 2025 in April. We did 2026 this April, and they've announced they're doing one in October again, in Conroe, and they're doing another one in May next year, which, I mean, how can we miss that one? If we're done 3, we got to do them all, right? So that's our plan. That is the plan. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, Jennifer, we are back. I just saw our numbers jump way up from where we were. So I think people are kind of starting to find us again. Just apologies. Uh, some people there may be a YouTube issue. So I think someone said they read or heard or saw. I will do that research as well. to try to figure out what is going on. Now, obviously, that won't happen. That can't happen while we're live, but and if that's the case, there's really nothing we can do if it's a YouTube issue. But we had reset the internet, did speed tests, everything was good before we started. We had about an hour and a half of good, so I don't know what happened. Don't know what it is. Oh, Little Craft Fest. It is a kind of a stationary planner event that has taken place in Conroe, Texas. It is a suburb of Houston. I mean, if you're just jumping in, just know we're giving everybody kind of another minute or two to as many people who can get here that are trying to find us again. So that is put on by a store in that area called Little Craft Place. It is shopping. There's a whole vendor area. I think in the last two times it's been about 100 different vendors maybe. And then there are also workshops. So pretty awesome event. Jennifer, you want to know more about it? Shoot me an email and I will let you know. Little Craft Fest is what it is. Little Craft Fest. Oh, Terry, you're gonna miss another one. Darn it, darn it. Yeah, but the babies, that's good. Babies, grandbabies are due. All right, friends, I think we are ready. We're ready to jump in. We're gonna cross our fingers. Uh, those of you that have just popping in, it may be a YouTube issue we're hearing. I don't know, but we're just gonna keep on going and keep on going. All right, so I'm gonna rotate the camera and we are going to dive back in again. And we're all going to send all the positive. Oh, golly. Sorry about that. Oh, gosh. Sorry. Sorry about all that jumping around. Um, I just need more time to. Yikes. I know, right? Don't worry. I just need more time to set up all the new equipment that I have, all the new cameras and video cameras and things like that, and we'll be good. All right. So where we left off, we're working on getting it straight. There we go. We are working on this page. All right. So we've already put our sticker strip down and we've already put our little border strip. That rainbow strip came from the top of your collection, the whole far and wide collection paper kit. We cut that off during our homework. All right. We added a little travelogue sticker. And this is where things started to go a little haywire. Ooh, let's plug in right now because that would be not good. Let me get that plugged in and then so camera's going to shake for just a second while I plug in. All right, now we go. You will add a rub-on that says itinerary, and I was talking about it may be kind of fun to add your itinerary here. I think that is also part of the story that you're telling. Your itinerary may be fresh if you're getting ready to go on a trip, or it may be fresh if you're coming off of a trip. But in a year or 2 years or 5 years, you're like, okay, wait a minute, what were we doing? Where were we? Why did we go on this trip? So you could add that information there. What I will have you do later is build this little cluster. All right. So you've got a cluster of different layered pieces. The piece that you are using as the base, and your instructions will show you and tell you this, so don't panic that I'm kind of skipping through this. These types of things we are skipping, adding little decorative parts just so you can do those later very easily. That film strip is the base, and we are fussy cutting that again from the back of the large die cuts packaging. Those die cuts are super large in the package. They're smaller here, but we might as well use those pieces. So that started out as the base of your piece. You're adding a camera die cut. You are adding one of your fussy cut, one of your little fussy cut tickets. One of your fussy cut tickets is going there. You have a story to tell sticker, and you have that little kind of arrows die cut that is pop dotted. All right, so that cluster, when you are adding your photos and your journaling, you can go ahead and add those pieces. So that is what we did together. As we move to the other side, this is what we're creating with some more of those fussy cut luggage tags. All right. So the ones that I've used here, and I will pull those. This was part of your homework. We fussy cut from a very specific piece. So if you have not done that homework and you're starting to cut into that 12 by 12 piece of paper, please don't do that. Follow the instructions so you know what you are fussy cutting to get your little tags, starting with the one on the left. Here, there, and everywhere. Next up, we have sightseeing. This one is not a fussy cut tag, so we're going to skip that one for a minute. That wander, that one is a die cut. So let's go over here. We'll get that in a second. We're using get lost and then using the one that says vacay. If I can get that up. All right. So we're basically going to punch holes in those and create a little banner, and we're stringing them basically through our string as if we just made a little banner that's kind of hanging off our page. So we need to get that die cut. That wander die cut is going to be, where did I put it? It is going to be somewhere in, not with the luggage, not there. So probably in this stack. Oh yes, it's a ticket. Lael, you remember where you put your things. You put all your tickets together, so it would be at the tickets. There we go. Okay. So we're going to grab our hole punch and punch holes in the tops of each of those fussy cut tags and our die cut. So pop up here, pop up here. Now I'm just using my regular hole punch. If you have a hole punch that's a little bit smaller, maybe you have a crocodile, the We Are Memory Keepers, or the We Are Keepers now, I think that's what they're called. They have a tool called a crocodile, and there are two different punch size punches, hole punches. And these are fine. They're just a little bit large, but that's what I had. So that's what I'm using, just my regular size hole punch here. And that last little guy, the vacay. All right. We are going to, do you still have the mail club? Joanne Garcia. I'm not sure what you mean by the mail club. If you want to shoot me an email, lailbymail@gmail.com, and give me a little bit more information, then I can answer your question because I'm not sure what that is. All right. So we have top of page 5. We need a 12. Oh, we are on the back side. So numbered line insert back. We need a 10-inch piece of string. 10-inch piece of our string here. We've still got plenty. You have way more than you need. So 10-inch piece of string. Jennifer, shoot me an email, please. Okay. So I'm going to tie a knot in both ends of both ends of the string. And I just thought it might look a little better if it was knotted instead of raw on the end. So if you'd like to do that, if you would like to tie a knot, you can. If not, then you could just leave it raw. Well, it's still going to kind of be raw, but I thought if we tied a knot in each end, it might finish it a little bit. Well, not, and I didn't pull it like super tight. If you pull it super tight, you're not really even going to be able to tell that there's a knot there. So we'll knot both ends of that. If you are doing any kind of fussy cutting, maybe you have a piece of paper that has flowers on it, right? You could do this same type of thing. You could fussy cut 5 different flowers, punch holes in the top, take a piece of string and string them across the top of your page as a banner, or string them across the top of your page as a, well, same thing, banner. You could do that with, if you have punches, you could punch different shapes out and do something like this, or even just, freehand cut something. So I'm starting with, I put Wonder in the center, and then I will go center, left, center, right as I add these other little guys. We're just kind of stringing them through there. So one goes, this guy, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I'm kind of stringing them back and forth instead of stringing them all through the same way. And that's just the way I did it. So if you want to do front, through the front, through the back, through the front, that's how I did it. Let's see. Ah, yes. Deborah said, Lael, I've noticed the grid paper as the backside of the large die cut. I'll call this your signature. Yeah, kind of like that little, I've got graph paper that's like that in 12 by 12 in 6 by 8, but what Deborah's talking about. The backside of all of these large die cuts, the large die cuts in future collections, because we wrapped up one today Next well, there's another collection coming that has large die cuts that the backside is going to be different or is different. But backside of all these just has that nice grid pattern. So you can use it to write on if you'd like. So you might want to do a little bit of journaling or add photo or I don't know, whatever you want to do there. Um, we have, oh my gosh, when you guys see what's coming later this year, holy cow, there's a lot of fun stuff coming. So just hang tight. So I kind of get that the way that I like it. It's kind of how I think it looks good, right? And then I'm just going to take my tape runner and just kind of lift each of those tags up and then set them back down again. I think that's the easiest way to do it instead of trying to, adhere them ahead of time or now they're going to be in place exactly where I want them. Now, I have not in any way secured that string, my little banner string there. So if you wanted to do that, you'd probably be fine if you just took a little bit of liquid adhesive, like a little bit of glue, and maybe put a dot right there, held it down, and then another dot maybe over here and held it down. I don't think that you need to kind of glue all of those pieces in place. Your string will stay, but I can really pull it through the whole way if I want. I didn't adhere any of it. So you can kind of decide how you want to work with that. I hope there are rub-ons in all the new collections. In the main collections, there are, which is a little bit of hint. So we have main collections coming. We also have mini collections coming. And some of them are a little bit kind of mini, but kind of main. You'll see. You'll see. But yeah, love the rub-ons. They're so much fun too. Wendy said, I ordered the bundle, but now I think I need to get the binder and make this. Wendy, you could do that. Grab the a la carte binder and then also the add-on supplies too. Okay, so what I will have you guys do to finish this page, not a lot. You have a rub-on that says for the love of travel. You'll adhere that above. This is one of your border stickers, right? So it's that other border sticker that is still intact. Now, with that border sticker, actually, I'm going to have us cut this right now because it says trim the black arrows border sticker to 5.75 inches. I want to point this out. Does not go all the way to the end because we're using this same border sticker for something else later. So we want to make sure to trim that to 5.75 or 5 3/4 inches. And then we're just using one of our little die cuts to kind of fill in the gap there. So if we go like this, and this is not the easiest way to do this. We should do this on the trimmer. I don't know what I was thinking there. Much easier if we pull out our trimmer. So 5 3/4 inches. We are trimming that border sticker to 5 3/4 inches. So put the part that we're not using back on the sticker sheet. The part that we are using is 5 3/4 inches. So that goes right there. Then you can finish that last piece up later. So I put that little key die cut that is pop dotted and then loved this place just goes to the left of that key. All right, so we're good to go there. That is ready to go into our book, which takes us to our next. That guy goes, let me just show you. This goes here like this, and this little guy sits right on top of there. And it just kind of floats around freely. That's taking us to our second chipboard divider. We are using one of the large die cuts again. And we are using the camera die cut and creating a pocket. So let's grab that large camera die cut. If I can grab that, there we go. And we are also grabbing the 6 wide by 4 3/4 tall camera piece. Just double check. This is 6 inches wide by 4 3/4 tall. All right. That's the one that we want. Don't grab a different size and think it's the right size because we're doing a little trick here. We really don't need to have a full piece of paper that we're adhering here, right? Why waste paper to sit behind a pocket that no one is ever going to see what's behind the pocket? We might as well stretch our supplies by just cutting the piece that is going to sit above the pocket. So make sure that you have the piece that is 6 inches wide by 4 3/4 tall. And again, all the paper we have pre-cut ahead of time in the homework video or the pre-work homework, whatever it is. And that is going centered kind of along the top and right edge. Again, we're completely ignoring all this whole area over the holes. It's just kind of there. The best time, that is one of our tab die cuts. That little guy, you can either have it go on top of or underneath, up to you. I think the last one I had go on top of, this one I'll have go underneath. So we're using the same type of die cut on all of the tabs. So when your book is kind of closed and it's all together, you kind of see the same look peeking out underneath. There's the top of our pocket. This is what we're using to create our pocket. So we're just going to turn that piece over. That is our large die cut. We're going to use our extra song double-sided adhesive tape that we were using in part 1. And we are using that because anytime we're creating a pocket, I like to use a really strong double-sided tape because I can put things in the pocket and keep putting things in the pocket and it will not strain the pocket and eventually have the pocket fall off. We don't want the pocket to fall off. So I'm using 1/4 inch double-sided tape as I am ready to pull the release paper off. I'm only pulling the release paper partially off and I'm folding it so the piece that I have pulled away is sticking out the side. And I will do that on all 3 of these little sides. So I pulled, I don't know, maybe about 1/3 of it off. The reason I do this is because your double-sided tape is really strong. Um, we like to use double-sided tape because it's really strong. The disadvantage about using double-sided tape is you kind of have one shot to get it on. And if it's crooked, you might as well just leave it where it is because it's so strong. If you try to lift it up to replace it, it's going to rip whatever you've put down. So this is going to give us wiggle room. When I go like this, like I'm literally, that is sitting on top of there. It is not sticking because only a little bit of the sticky is revealed. It's running into all of this. So I figure out where I want that to sit. And once I have it in place, I'm going to push down on the part that has where the sticky's been revealed and use that now as a little pull tab to pull out that little release paper. Now, Terry asked a great question. Have you ever used foam tape to glue a pocket on? Basically, if you're using foam tape that is now making your pocket much thicker, meaning you can put more things in the pocket. So you could certainly use foam tape here, here, and here, where we just use the double-sided tape, give you more room to put things in. Sometimes I will even create a little gusset. And what I mean by that, let's pretend like this was a piece of cardstock or pattern paper or whatever. I would cut it to the height. Well, that's almost perfect. I'd cut it to the height of the side of both of my pieces. And then I would do this. I'd fold it in half and I'd put adhesive here and adhesive here. And let's pretend I wanted to do that, let's say with this card. So if I adhere it to the back of that, that now gives me that little gusset, right? So that is basically giving that pocket a lot of room to stretch. I can fit more things in the pocket. Usually if I'm doing that, I will do it along both sides and the bottom. You don't have to do the bottom, but definitely want to do both sides. That's called the gusset. It's kind of what we were talking about with the bag. Maybe a little bit easier to see on the bag. Basically, that's what we're creating. You just don't really end up seeing it. That's a gusset that lets our bag really stretch, or in that case, could be our pocket stretch. So you could do that as Terry suggested with foam tape, or you could create kind of a gusset like that where your pocket would grow as needed. Grow with you as needed. Okay. So in your pocket, you are going to add photos, memorabilia, whatever the kind of things that you're collecting along the way that you want to put into your pocket. I did a couple of things here. I added a rub-on. That rub-on says, let the fun begin. So you can add that later. I felt like I needed to bring in a little bit of green, right? We've got the green on our tab and there's really no green anywhere else. So I took my little fussy cut, one of my little fussy cut luggage tags, and that ended up getting pop dotted to the center of my camera. Easy way to bring in a little bit of color. I had a few colors to choose from there, right? The piece, you just have the pieces that you are, or that you have. So pop that little guy right in the center of the camera. All right, backside. Now, backside, there's a lot more going on here than it appears. When you're ready, we won't do this part right now. You can add your little sticker to the backside of that tab that says travel more, just so you don't have a naked tab, right? We don't want a naked tab. What's happening here? We have a door that hinges on the left and opens on the right, like that. So super easy. All we have to do is score it, but that is giving us a lot more real estate, right? If we were just working on this page, we'd only have so much room. But when we do this, we're basically buying ourselves another area here to add journaling or photos or whatever we want. So to do that, we are middle of page, kind of the bottom third of page 5. This is the chipboard divider back. We are looking for our 12 by 8 tall, 12-inch wide by 8-inch tall postmark piece. So that piece, that is 12 by 8. Okay, that guy. So not all of your papers have to be cut to an 8-inch size, or sorry, 6-inch wide size. Even though our book is for the most part 6 inches wide, we can use a full 12 by 12 piece of paper and then just score it to work on something like this. So that's what we'll do. We are going to score that 5.5 inches from the left edge of the tall postmark piece. So 5.5 inches from the left edge. I am going to have us actually score that. We are going to, I guess it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which way. All right, let's get our scoreboard. Our real scoreboard, as I turn in a circle. I'm going to use this guy this time. I mean, you can use your trimmer if you have that, or sometimes if you're going maybe to a crop or you're traveling and taking your projects to work with, sometimes it's easier if you can just take a trimmer and then do that little trick we talked about with the kind of scoring along the little valley where the blade runs. But I'm going to use this. So 5.5 inches from the left edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I think maybe I saw it sounded like maybe somebody said earlier that there, oh, hang on. I don't want you to do that because if you already did that like I did, we haven't cut, we've just scored. So I'm going to take my little bone folder here and just flatten that back out. And if you did already score it, no worries, just flatten it out. And if you don't want to flatten out, you won't see it either. This is where you saw me hesitate for a minute before. I really want us to score from 5.5 inches from the left edge of this side because we want it to fold like that. All right. Yeah, no.
Everything's been fine.
Yep.
I just got a text from you because I was over, I ran into neighbor Sam,
Uh-huh.
saying that it had done it again, it was
Yeah.
all screwed up. And
Yeah. Oh, no, I had to restart everything.
okay,
Oh, I had to restart it all. Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Sorry, I misinterpreted that. Yeah. No, it never came back, honey. I don't know what's going on. Although, Nick, honey, will you come back for a second? Pardon me, guys. I'm just going to have a little chat with the husband here real quick. Will you go upstairs and Google and see if you can find anything about YouTube having any issues? Someone thought that maybe it's been happening on other channels too lately. So if you can just look at that,
Okay.
then we'll go from there. Thank you guys. Continue to troubleshoot. All right. So what I did there, what I was suggesting, I wanted us to turn it over and measure 5.5 inches from the left edge of this side. Okay. So that we can now fold that in. And it will sit right there on top. So if you had already did what I did and you scored the other way, no worries, flatten it out and then re-score it this way, 5.5 inches from this edge. All right, so now we are going to adhere, put our adhesive on this part, or so we look at it like this. We want to put our adhesive on the back side of this large part. Okay. So we'll turn it over. We want the back side. And I'm going to cover the back. The way that I had to score this, I had to score it so it is wide enough in this case to cover the holes. Normally, we're not covering the holes because normally we are working with like a 6 by 8 inch piece of paper. In this case, it is wide enough to cover the holes. I'll put that right up there so you can see. So we're about even here, here, and here, and here. We've just got our little fold right there. All right. All right. All right. Thanks for joining us, Irene. Okay, so let me just go ahead and grab my other bone folder since I've already put that away. We'll just kind of flatten that out a bit. If it doesn't want to necessarily lay flat, grab your bone folder, or if you don't have one, in a pinch, your handy dandy rub-on applicator, your popsicle stick could work the same way. You'll just kind of take that and rub it along that edge just to help it lay flat a little bit more. All right, so next up, we are going to, I'm going to remember to repunch holes. Oh, repunch holes. Let's repunch the holes. And then we will kind of do a little bit of decorating there. All right, we need the Black Arrows border sticker, our remaining Black Arrows border sticker. We need to trim this into, trim it in half. We're basically going to trim it in 2 pieces. This is a great tip if you have a sticker that is not long enough for where you want to put it. We're going to make it work. And I'm not really concerned if I don't need to really measure it, but I'm just kind of going to get it in half-ish like that. And I will take one piece and put it up at the top there. So I'm putting it right here, the edge of that postmark piece. One piece is going along there. I'll open it up this way. It might make it a little bit easier for you to see what I'm doing. My other piece is going right here. Now we've got this big gap, right? Now we're just going to look for something to fill that gap. When we think about it, if we're going to put something on top of there, there's really no reason to waste whatever's there. And that's what we're doing with that large circle die cut. I haven't been everywhere, but it's on my list. That is me to a T. I have not been everywhere, but it is on my list. I live to travel. Travel has been always a huge part of my life. I think I shared, I can't remember if I already shared this, but I got my first passport when I was 4. My dad was in the Navy. He was getting stationed in Japan. So we lived in Japan and needed a passport. And I have traveled ever since. Work, professionally, my business now. Love to do it leisurely. It's just a big part of who I am. Haven't been everywhere, but it's on my list. So this we are going to adhere right here. So it's going to do 2 things for us. It's going to cover that gap, but it's also going to kind of give us a little little thing here, a little tab to use to open and close our page. So what I did here, obviously we only want to apply our adhesive to the back of the left side, but on the back of that left side, I did it with my foam squares because I thought that might be kind of fun to just to have that be popped up. Give it a little bit more dimension. I use pop dots a lot in my mini books. You rarely, if ever, see me use a pop dot. When you never see me use pop dot or any kind of dimensional adhesive in my traveler's notebooks inside the pages, because even though it looks really cool, as soon as you turn the page and try to do anything like write on it or stamp on it, good luck, because it's just not, doesn't give you an even surface. So I don't use foam squares in my traveler's notebooks, but you better believe I do in my mini books. It just gives it a nice extra dimension. Okay, there we go. As we open that up, I am going to have us take this piece of paper. I want us to adhere this piece right now because I want to make sure we get the right one. We're still on the chipboard divider back. We are looking for the Oh, we're chipboard divider back open spread. So we did the front, this is chipboard divider back, and this is the chipboard divider back open. So this is the back and this is the back open. We are looking for the 4.75, 4 3/4 by 7 tall graph paper piece. 4 3/4 by 7. And because I did not say postcards and passports on the back, it is not one of these, right? Both have that grid pattern. If we're using the back side of this, I will tell you, it'll say postcards and passports on the back. So we don't want that one. We want this guy, this guy, ooh, this guy. It should fit. If it's too long, it is not the right piece. So when you see, we put that on there and it's got some extra of that kind of arrival departure board. That piece is 4 3/4 wide by 7 inches tall. That we are putting over here on that scored side. So it fits just kind of centered-ish there. And then what I will have you do to wrap that up later, I have added 2 rub-ons. That is one rub-on, that little geotag with the star in the center. And then you have the trip rub-on. That's one, and then that is one piece. So you can add both of those. And then it was really plain. Maybe I'll have us do this, find this little piece right there too. It was really plain. I felt like it needed something along the bottom. So that piece is a 4 3/4 wide by 1 inch tall camera piece. 4 3/4 wide by 1 inch tall camera piece. Turn that over, and it's about, I don't know, 1/2 inch-ish from the bottom. On the right side, I will suggest that you wait to add the black pieces. Those are going to be photo mats. There's a lot going on this background, and so I felt like we needed something to anchor our photos. So I'd wait to add those until you're ready to add the photos. You know what photos you want. I did have us cut those pieces in the pre-work, and if your photos don't quite fit those pieces, then you could either make them smaller or pull another piece of black cardstock out of your stash if you need them bigger. All right. So we are done with that page. Put that back and we will grab our next one. So I'm going to have you grab something out of your book first. And well, actually, you're not going to grab anything out of your book yet because this is where the fancy part comes in. This part's not so fancy. This guy, all we're going to do is we're going to punch holes in that, and it is just a fun little page. It's not really do anything. It's just purely decorative. All right. So grab that's one of your large die cuts. We've used the large die cuts now in a couple of different ways. We've used them on the front cover as a decorative element. We've used them as a pocket like we did with the camera. And now we're using them as a page. Any of these could have been used as a page. You could have just punched holes in them and created a page. So we are going to grab our little punch template that we've created and kind of get it again centered-ish. We're not, measuring to make sure it's exactly centered, but we will punch here and here. All of these were designed very specifically, so any of them could be used this way. Any of them could be used as a page in your book. Even this guy, even that photo frame, you have enough room to use a standard size hole punch to be able to punch there and there and add as a page to your book. So that guy will go into my book. Um, I won't do it now, but I did add a little something on the back just because there's not really enough. You can't, I mean, I guess you could right there, but I felt like it needed a little something. So on the back, I added that. Let's explore the world. All right. Now, this is one of my very, very favorite techniques to do in a 6x8 album. I want you to grab the pocket page, that big 12 by 12 pocket page that was in your kit. And you're like, Lil, really? What are we going to do with this? Some of you have done this with me. I've been doing this for years and years and years. We talked at the beginning of the first video when we were talking about the ring mechanism and how there's only a couple of manufacturers in the world that actually make the ring mechanisms. And for the most part, if you have a ring mechanism that has two rings, it's going to be standard. We talked about how the simple stories pocket pages were interchangeable with the Doodlebug ones, were interchangeable with the Echo Park ones, and were interchangeable with the scrapbook.com ones because all of those people that are manufacturing their albums are buying the ring mechanisms pretty much from the same factory in another part of the world. What a lot of people don't know is that your when you think about an 8.5 by 11 album, it has a ring mechanism with two rings. Your 12 by 12 scrapbook albums have a ring mechanism that has one, two, three. Oh, I think your 8.5 by 11 have three. I can't remember. Been a long time since I've used an 8.5 by 11 binder, but it still applies. Your 12 by 12 scrapbook albums have one, two, three rings, right? That means your 12 by 12 pocket pages have one, two, three holes. The spacing on your 12 by 12 pocket pages from hole to hole and from hole to hole is the exact same spacing right here. So I want you to grab your album with the rings open, and I want you to take your pocket page and do this. And you're like, oh my gosh, Lael, you're right. So what that also means, this pocket page says Becky Higgins. This is not a Simple Stories. It's not an Echo Park. It's a 12 by 12 pocket page. If you find a pocket page that is 12 by 12 that has three rings, 90, I don't know, 7.6, I don't know what the percentage is. A vast majority of the percentage of the time, that pocket page will fit the rings on your Simple Stories albums, on your Echo Park albums, on your Doodlebug albums, on your scrapbook.com albums, all right? So that's awesome, right? Until you go, well, Lael, that's nice that this fits, but we've got all this extra and we have all this extra. Guess what? We can fix that. We can make these work in our 6x8 albums. So I'm going to move this off to the side for a minute. And I'm going to show you in my finished page what that looks like, and then we will do this. So this is that pocket page. And when you look at it initially, you're like, well, I can't even tell, Lael. That looks like a pocket page that has one, two, three, four, 3x4 pockets. And I say, yeah, until you do this. Now it's a pocket page that has one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight of those little 3x4 pockets. So all we had to do to get that is we go back to this guy. It's too tall, right? It's too tall. We need to trim off the top pockets, and then it's too wide. But we don't want to trim off these pockets here. We want to just score it or fold it so it sits right like that. Okay? So I'll move this out of the way. And I can either cut with my scissors or I can cut with my trimmer. If you're cutting with a trimmer, you do not want to use a guillotine trimmer. You're like, Lael, what's a guillotine trimmer? It is a trimmer that, hang on, let me show you. You probably know if you have one, but if you don't, I'll just grab one here and show you. It's a trimmer like this. This is a guillotine trimmer. Okay, so generally it is metal cutting against metal, and that is not necessarily sharp enough to cut through your pocket page. All right, so you don't want to use a guillotine trimmer. You want to use a trimmer that either has a blade like the one that I have been using, where it just kind of goes up and down a little valley, or if you have one of the caterpillar, I think it's called, trimmers, one of the big green ones like I used when I was cutting my paper, you can use that too. So if I grab this guy, remember, we're not cutting the side. We want to leave the side intact. We're just cutting that top piece off. As I cut, I want to cut above that seam. Okay, just cut above the seam. So if I put this here, I'm going to have to just jerry rig it a little bit because it is not quite My trimmer's not quite tall enough for that, so I can go like that. And then I'll pull it out and just hand cut the extra little part. And I'll just cut the rest of that off. And if you don't want to cut it with your trimmer, just grab your pair of scissors and trim. Again, we're trimming right above that seam. I mean, I guess you don't have to cut above the seam. You could cut right below it, but really we don't want to cut into this pocket. All right, so it's now the height that we need. I'm not doing anything with this. So if you want to save this for something, you can, but we didn't use this in the project. So I'm going to get rid of that. So it's the height that we need now, but it is too wide, right? As you are cutting, just make sure that your pocket page is right side up, not upside down. And you know it's right side up if your pockets are at the top. If your pockets are at the bottom, that means it's upside down and it's not going to work that way. Make sure that your pockets are at the top. So it's our height. Now we need to make it the width that we need. And all I'm going to do is I am going to fold it. I'm not even going to bother scoring it. I'm just folding it right against that seam. I'm going to use my little thumbnail to kind of help flatten that out. There we go. So that now becomes a pocket page that is double. It is the height that we need and it is the width that we need. We can now take that and put it here and voila. We kind of just created our own custom little pocket page, but look at how many pockets we have now. We have 8 on both sides, so that gives us 16 pockets to work with. Now, when you're working with 12 by 12 pocket pages, there are a lot of different configurations. So there are some that you can't do this with. And you just need to kind of look at the pocket page. You need to make sure it's something that you can cut off the top and you still have pockets here. And it's something that you can fold over here and still have your pockets. So depending on what you have, if you used to do pocket page scrapbooking years ago in 12 by 12s and you don't maybe do it so much anymore, you can, maybe take your pocket pages and make them work in an album like this. All right, so let me take this back out again and let's start adding just some really basics. We're basically just going to stuff the cards. And then we'll talk about a couple of things and I'll let you guys kind of finish the rest of it later. So this takes us to the top of page 6, the 8 by 12 scored pocket page. So we've done all that. We cut off the top, we scored the remaining. As we look at it like this, the front, this is the front. So instructions say the front, that's what you're seeing. Front of folded pocket page, inside spread of folded pocket page, and back of pocket page. So the front, we need a couple of things to put in here. You're going to put 3x4 photos here. So right now we will put nothing in both of those spots. We're putting nothing in the upper right and lower left. We are looking for the best memories. Start with a plane ticket. That will go in that pocket. That is one of our 3x4 cards. So we will slide this guy right here. Now, we need to slide. It won't slide in here because really this is the back of the pocket page, right? So we kind of have to go in from the inside and put that right there. You guys with me? Everybody got really quiet in the chat, and I think that's probably because you're working. But I can still see me. I can still see me, so I know we're good. We should be good. All right, now we have this upper left pocket. In that upper left pocket, we want the 3x4 white grid piece. And you'll see that it says postcards and passports on the back. So going to all of our grid pieces, postcards and passports on the back. Okay, good. You guys are all here working away. Awesome. We have some 3x4 grid pieces that have postcards and passports on the back. Remember we talked about that's the piece that we cut up. My printer accidentally printed too many of those and said, hey, do you want them? And I said, yeah, we'll use them for something. So that will go in that upper, it will go in that upper left pocket. Now I remember these pocket pages, for some reason, that row in this particular pocket or column, excuse me, and this particular pocket page configuration is a little narrow. So my 3x4 won't quite fit. I need to just snip a little bit off of the edge. Ooh, I need a new blade there. So if it seems tight, it is tight. Don't try to like jam it in there. Just trim a little bit off the edge and then it'll be good. Okay. We'll add photos here. To finish this page, I took that piece. That is a die cut that says Wander. Wait, is it a die cut? Ooh, it's not. We better do this together. This is a sticker, Wander. So I'm going to grab that. You'll notice that my wander wanders off the page, right? What happened to the top of it? I thought that if I put that there, that's going to take a whole lot of that space. And I thought I don't really want to take up that much space. So I just used my little scissors to trim the top off. Now that is a sticker. So you have two options here. You could just go ahead and stick that right to the top, but that is not what I did. When you look at the back of that, I actually used pop dots to have that pop off the page. So because that's a sticker, if you want to add pop dots to it, what I'm going to suggest you do, one of the optional items on your supply list was either baby powder or a powder tool. We talked about this one that I use in the in part one. I'm just going to take that and basically rub that across the top of there. And that is going to apply whatever's in there. It's a powder substance. I don't know what it is, but it's basically going to coat the back of that sticker. So by doing that, it de-stickified the sticker. The sticker is no longer sticky. Now that's like a die cut. All right. Now that's like a die cut. And I can add my foam pieces to the back of that. And not everybody will do that. Sometimes people just put their die cuts on the back of the sticky. If it gets flattened out, sometimes you'll end up with part of the sticker kind of going in and sticking and, if that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, Lael, then you can just put your die cuts or your pop dots on, whoopsie, your pop dots on the back of the sticker. Now, your pop dots may have a little bit of a hard time sticking. You might have to really push them down because there's powder now, that substance on the back of that piece. So we'll take that guy and it's just going to sit right up there at the top. So I ended up with this black and white there. And I had all of this black here. And I thought, well, gosh, I've got some yellow and some black. I better kind of help even it out. So I took the other part of that sticker that we cut off, and this went right here. So I'm going to end up putting a photo in there. So right now you guys will have nothing there. It's going to be blank because I put a photo there. And then I thought, well, maybe I need a little bit more yellow now to work in. So we're grabbing from our sticker sheet that had the two border stickers. I'm just grabbing that little yellow geotag sticker, and that goes right there. I'm just kind of trying to make everything a little bit more cohesive. Here I added the taxi die cut. And here I added our second airplane. Airplane. I don't even know where that came from. Aeroplane. The second airplane. We used one on the cover. That's our second airplane. I pop dotted that guy. That guy got pop dotted. That guy's flat. Added sticker that says "So Magical" there and a sticker that says "Love This" there. Last thing I did, and I'll have us do this little part together. If this is in your book, you don't necessarily know that, hey, that's supposed to open up whoever's looking at your book. We're going to give them a little hint by creating a little tab over here for them. So we need two pieces. We need, yeah, aeroplane. Exactly, Carrie. Very European because I'm European, right? No, aeroplane. And here the ghost sticker to the lower left corner so it hangs up the page. So ghost sticker, when we open that up, we're going to back it with the Rome globe. So I'm going to suggest that you grab both of those now. You don't want to have this part being sticky with nothing to kind of meet it on the back. So you have two little globe die cuts. You have one that says "Leave only footprints, take only memories." That's not the one we want. We want this one, the one that says Rome. So this guy is hanging off that front. It's just partially off. Partially on, partially off. like the Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. It's just partially on, partially off. We're going to open that up, and right away we want to put this here because we want to make sure that that sticky doesn't stick on something we don't want it to stick to. And it works pretty well. I mean, it's pretty close in size and scale, right? Right now you can see a little bit more than you would, oh, yeah, a little bit more than you would expect to see. But once you add your photo, you won't see that backside of that globe at all. All right. So let's go ahead and open that up now and add our pieces. We are taking another one of our 3x4 grid pieces cut from the postcards and passports cover. I am going to need to narrow this one down as well because those side pockets are just a little bit narrower. They're not quite 3 inches wide. Pop that in right there, maybe. Let's see, Carrie before that said, I can't wait to work on this project. I pre-cut, but then didn't have an open evening to work on it live. I know, right? But look you'll be ready when you're ready. You'll be ready when you're ready. Yeah, that made sense. So we're doing a photo here and a photo here. Okay. Upper left, lower right. So those will be blank right now. And then we're doing a photo here, upper left and lower right. So we need to add 2 more pieces right here. One of them is a card that says travel bucket list. That'll go in the open bottom, lower right pocket. That one, I need to just trim that one a little bit too. Your cards are the correct size. Your cards and the pieces that we've cut are all a true 3x4, but some of those pockets there are not a true. So it seems a little tight. It is. Carrie, you're retiring in 13 and a half days from 20 years of teaching. Oh my goodness, Carrie, congratulations. What a huge accomplishment. And thank you. Thank you for being a teacher. We need all the teachers we can get and people that are dedicated like you for 20 years. That's amazing. Congratulations. 13 and a half days. I bet if we asked you how many hours and how many minutes, you probably know, right? But it's probably a little bit bittersweet too. All right, we need this guy. And we already have our guy right there, so we're going to match it with that. And it is the backside of a quick getaway. So we have our 3x4 stack here, a quick getaway. We will turn that so our lined part is facing forward. So those lines, you can do whatever you want with them. If you want to add photos, if you want to do a little bit of journaling, if you want to make a list, whatever you'd like to do, but you have kind of inside a little bit of green, but you have lots of photos here for what you'll do to wrap this up later. And your instructions will show and tell you this. I don't want to leave. Word strip sticker, explore new places, word strip sticker, fabulous weather. And I even added the 2 cloud and sun stickers on top of that pocket page. Oh, that we are here. We are here. I didn't have us stuck that under, so let's grab that label really quick. If I was following along in my instructions instead of just working kind of rogue, I would have caught this. So if you can still lift that up a little bit, we are going to trim off. Basically, we're going to trim so we don't have those little edges. We don't have those little corners, right? We're cutting that part off with the corners. And we're just going to hide this right under there. So you can kind of have a little label for your photo. All right. Over here, I could stay here forever. Little, just kind of a little accent piece, one of your die cuts that says gate A. And then that is one of your rub-ons. And I did not adhere it to the pocket page. I actually came back, pulled the card out, and adhered it directly to the card. You could adhere it to the top of the pocket page if you wanted, but I thought it might be a little bit easier since it's pretty fine. It's a little bit intricate. Might have better luck if I did it directly on the card. All right, so that is your interactive 12 by 12 pocket page that we make work in a 6 by 8 album. So now you know the trick. If you have 12 by 12 pocket pages in your stash, go and look, go test this out. I promise you, trust me. We used Becky Higgins in this project pocket page. We used an Echo Park pocket page in this album, and we used Simple Stories pocket pages in this album, and they all work together. All right, so we're ready to on the back side here, you'll end up with a photo and a photo, and then a couple more word strip stickers, and that you are here. All right, so there we go. That one going into our album, and this one going back here. And that's going to take us into another easy pocket page. The next page in our book should be a pocket page that has two 3 by 4 pockets on top and a 4 by 6 pocket on the bottom. All right. So we need our stack of 4 by 6 cards, and there aren't too many left. I'm taking this map of the United States. I love this art that Becky did. I think it's just fantastic. Um, we'll come back to this in a minute. This bottom part, we're going to find our 2 cards up top. So we need a favorite site. That's pretty obvious, but that's the back side of one of the cards. Exploring the city. So favorite site will go in the left pocket, and exploring the city will go in the right one, but it's going in the right one. Whoopsie. Um, with the green line side facing forward. All right, I've added a couple of stickers to the pocket page. Top of the pocket page, the travel note sticker, the scenic route sticker, the right here, right now sticker, and I also added that large states die cut. That some of you might be like, well, Lael, why would I do that? Because I already have it here. Well, it is slightly smaller scale. So if I add that there with pop dots, it just gives it kind of a whole other dimension. So if you wanted to add that, you could, or you might say, you know what, I think, Lael, I think I'm going to save that for something else. But that's what I did there. I just adhered it to the top of the pocket page with pop dots. It just kind of gives it a fun, just little dimensional element. All right, so let's go to the back side of that, see what we have on the back. Really nothing that we're going to do here. These are all things that will be really easy for you to add after the fact, or if you want to add them now, you can just press pause, get your pieces, get them added, and press play again when you're ready. But the instructions will show you and tell you at the bottom of page 6, a must-see sticker. That little piece right there, that let's go this way fun, that is going to be one of these pieces from our cut apart. Okay, cut apart. So the pieces that have all the yellow with the little kind of airplanes flying around, I'll just tuck that in there right now. I'm going to suggest that you don't adhere that yet until you know the photo. So if you are doing a smaller photo like that, then that will fit. But maybe you're not doing a smaller photo. So hold off until you know what you're putting there. And then down below, we have a photo. We have final destination. Actually, we have photo. It goes into the pocket page. Everything else here is on top, and your instructions will show you and tell you that. That little compass is pop dotted to the top. Voyager. Voyager is a rub-on that we adhered to the top of the pocket page. And the reason I did that, if this is adhered to the top of the pocket page and I decide I want to put Voyager on the card in the pocket, it's a little bit harder for me to gauge exactly where that should go, right? So you can do that if you want to put that piece there and then put your Voyager there, you can do that. Or if you want to do some fancy measuring, but I'm like, nope, I'm going to make it easy on myself. I pop that card in. That compass is here to the top of the pocket page, and then my Voyager right on top of our pocket page. Because remember, our rub-ons can go on photos, our rub-ons can go on top of pocket pages, our rub-ons can go on paper, they can go on die cuts. We can pretty much put rub-ons on anything. All right, so that little page is done. So some of our pages will start to go pretty quickly because we have lots of not lots of, but we still have some pocket pages to work with. And in those cases, all we're really doing is adding, excuse me, whew, big sneeze. All we're really doing is just, putting the cards in the pockets. Okay, this next one. This I'm going to suggest that well, not going to suggest, I'm going to say this is what we're doing or not doing. Right now, we are not, Gen 8. I will answer your question in one sec, okay? On this page, I have just added die cuts. As I was looking at a lot of the transportation die cuts, knowing that some of you are going on a cruise and maybe you are documenting a cruise in this project. Some of you are taking a road trip. Some of you might be, I don't know, in Hawaii and you rented a convertible to go drive around the island. Some of you might be doing biking. Maybe some of you are riding a moped, but not everyone is using all of those different vehicles or getting to the place that they're going in any of those vehicles. So I thought, you know what? What if we just use all of those on one page? Because then this is just kind of generic. It's explore more, whether you're driving or biking or on a moped or in a car or on a ship. So I used all of those die cuts there and then also used this street sign. You're in between Explorer Ave and Traveler Drive. All of that then assumes that you have space in the middle if you were designing it this way. You have two black photo mats that you could use to then mat your photos. So I'm going to suggest I'm not going to do any of this now. We just talked through it and then you can decide how you want to add those pieces if you want to do the same thing I did. Explore More is one of your rub-ons. Oh, green sticker. Green, let's see. Yes, green moped is a sticker. Again, if I was reading the instructions, I don't know, maybe it tells us that. It probably does. Nope. It is, yes, it's a sticker, and in the instructions I said die cuts. You're not missing something is the sticker. Apologies for that. All right. C. Paula said, I was wondering how I would document a cruise using this kit. I'll need to get creative. So, Paula, I will ask you, are you going on any excursions when you're on the cruise? If so, um, are you getting in a car? Are you getting in a bike? Are you getting in any kind of vehicle? If you're not, you could still use this because this is generic. Basically, get out and explore more, right? That is why I would, if I was just designing this project kit for myself, and not project kit because it wouldn't be a project kit. If I was designing this project for myself, I would probably not do this page this way because I'd be using these guys in different areas as they applied to me. Like I don't cruise, so I'd probably never use that. But knowing that I wanted this page to kind of work for everyone, then this page is kind of designed as more of just kind of get out and explore more, no matter what vehicle you're using. There is one thing that I want to mention about two stickers on here and the thought behind how you would use these stickers. On your sticker sheet, you have a grouping of a lot of different white stickers that say in the lake, in the city, on a train, in a taxi, in the woods, at the beach, at a museum, on a bus, on a hike, on the river, on a picnic, on a subway, on the sea, on a drive, on a mountain. Those are very particular to where you're traveling and where you are, right? So, I only use two of these. If I was documenting one of my trips, I would use a lot more of these based on where I was. But because I don't know where you are, I didn't want to just start going putting these things in willy-nilly because these are all pretty specific to different activities on a trip or different locations. What I did do here, I put in the city right here and I put on a subway. So just to show you how you might use those. Susan, the green moped is a sticker. Apologies for that. It's a sticker. In the instructions, I said die cuts, but it's a sticker. So I put in the city and on a subway. If you are not in the city and if you are not on a subway, don't use those stickers, right? Those are very specific just to kind of talk about how you might use those stickers with any of your photos, all right? And the backside, we will do the backside of this page. Jennifer said, sounds like it could be a Dr. Seuss book. On a train, at the beach. Yes, absolutely. All right, now I'm going to go back to a question that Jen had. Jen said, Leo, you mentioned in the first video that you have a walkthrough of the finished album. Where would I find that? This album is so cute. Jen 8. It's here on my YouTube channel. So if you look at the videos here on my YouTube channel, you will see about maybe a 10-minute flip through of the album, finished album, so you can see all the pages. And as I talk through kind of all the pages and then the project kit that we use to put it together. Great question. Jennifer said, I'm amazed they work on top of the pockets. They're magical rub-ons. Yeah, they are. They're really good rub-ons. If you've been around for a long time, back in the day, rub-ons were not like that. So they've come a long way, baby. Like, what is that? Virginia Slims? They've come a long way, baby. Let's see. Oh, Jen said, yeah, I called myself that when I thought I needed anonymity, trying to change my handle now. I know it can be done. I know you can change it. I just don't know how. You can Google and it'll tell you. The World Wide Web will tell you. Terry, I'm going to just read some of the comments now and then we'll keep going. Terry said, Paula, I am using this album to document my cruise we took in March. I will post it when I am done. Thank you, Terry. So I think what Terry means there is she will post it in the Facebook group. So if you are documenting a cruise, you'll have some ideas on how she decided to take what we have and do that. All right, so we're going to do the back side. So we're turning over the page. This is really important. Really, really important. Make sure your holes are on the right. If your holes are on the left, then you are now decorating the front of the page instead of the back. All right, so holes on the right. We are creating a little side pocket. Okay, side pocket. Things slide in on the right side pocket. So for this side pocket, we are at the top of page 7. This is the back of the lined insert. We need our 2 3/4 by 8 baggage tags piece. Luggage tag, baggage tag. But where did I have those? Here we are. Our 2 3/4 by 8. If this piece is not 2 3/4 by 8 for you, it is not the right piece. All right. So you should have this pre-cut 2 3/4 by 8. It is going to fit right there along the side of our page with a little of the white border along the top and the side and the bottom. If you have, thank you, Terry, so much. Terry's amazing. Terry just popped the link to the flip through video of this project. So, whoever was asking that, Jen, yes, Jen, it's here. It's here now linked in the chat. So thank you, Terry. One of the optional items on your supply list was a circle punch. And I made this optional because you don't have to use it, right? Sometimes when I'm doing pockets, I think it's fun to notch a little half circle out of the edge of your piece. I've used a 2-inch circle. You could use a 1 inch, a 1.5, a 1 3/4, a 2.5. Basically, it's just going to change the width of your notch. So I'm going down here towards the bottom and I'm doing, I don't know, half-ish notch. So when I put that down, it's just a little bit more obvious that there are things in the side that I can punch in and out. It is a pocket again. So we are going to grab our double-sided tape. When we were on the camera pocket on our chipboard divider, our last chipboard divider, we made the pocket with the large die cut camera. We could do something similar here. Terry had mentioned that sometimes she uses foam tape. So she would put foam tape here, here, and here, and all those straight edges. And that would just lift her pocket off the page, which would give her a lot more room to put stuff in the pocket. We also talked about creating a gusset, right? We talked about creating a gusset out of a piece of, well, I said you could do this with a piece of scratch paper. I just, for demonstration purposes, just ripped off part of my little piece of my my foam squares were on that. But we could do the same thing here. If you wanted, you could take a piece of paper. Usually what I do is if I'm doing that, I take a 1-inch wide piece of paper and then score it in half. So you end up with half-inch here, half-inch here. But if I put something like that right here, that now makes it so this pocket can open up a lot more, right? And that would be if I put that on the top and the bottom. I could still keep the edge flat and have it open up a little bit more at the top and the bottom. And in that case, it would, ooh, golly jeepers there. Hang tight. I just opened up. I tried to close that album and all the pages, or I tried to turn the pages, and I did not have, oh, please. I did not have all those, I didn't have the rings closed. So let's try that again with the rings closed. I don't know, that's probably totally out of order now. All right. Going back to our bag, back to the beginning. The sides are gusseted, but the bottom is not. The bottom is, so it's not gusseted here. It's just flat along the bottom. It's just the sides are gusseted, right? You can see that there, not gusseted at the bottom. Sides are gusseted, not at the bottom. So if we take that kind of same idea with this side pocket, if we wanted, we could just create a gusset at the top and excuse me, this way, one at the top and one at the bottom, and then it's flat along the side. So lots of different things that you can do to make your pockets a little bit wider to stuff more stuff in. But in this case, I'm just going to leave this flat. So I'm going to take my double-sided tape again. We talked about why we might want to use double-sided tape here as opposed to maybe our tape runner or glue stick or something like that. The more I shove in that pocket, the more strain it's going to put on those kind of edges. So if I've got really nice sticky adhesive like that double-sided tape, it will make it so that really should stick. I mean, unless I'm putting like inches worth of things in there, then good luck with that. But all right, and we'll do our little trick again where we are just revealing a little bit of that adhesive. We're peeling back part of the release paper and then folding it towards the outer edges so that those can become our little kind of pull tabs once it's adhered. That and like that. Kind of get that lined up here where it looks good. That looks good. Press down on those parts that have already been, the sticky's already been revealed, and then pull your little pull tabs. And now we have our pocket. In your pocket, again, photos you can add memorabilia, tickets, brochures, whatever you want to add. Great space for adding more things. To finish that off, I added that die cut up at the top. That photos die cut just went right across the top. And that page is done. All right, you guys, we're cruising right along. We're actually kind of in the home stretch here. It may not seem like it to you, but I know we're in the home stretch-ish based on the designs of the pages that we have left. All right, next up. Here we've created a little pocket. Our base is this page, one of the pages from our album. We need to cut it. I wanted to make the page shorter because did I leave the right edge go? But hold on, Jennifer. Did you leave the right edge, go the die cut hanging loose, or tack it down? Oh, okay, I understand. I adhered to the whole piece because I thought, I mean, it kind of is going to depend on what you're thinking about putting in the pocket. If you have something that is going to be really tall, then I would not put adhesive under this part. I would only put my adhesive behind this piece that's actually sitting on the pocket. So this piece would kind of be like this. It's like it would be, let's see if I can get that to gently pull up. This guy would basically just be floating in the wind like that. Okay, so it would be adhered here. It would not be adhered there so that I could put taller things in that little area. All right, good question. So you could decide how you want to do that either way. Okay, so this guy, we end up actually cutting the height of it and also cutting the width. And the reason I did that, once we have this little pocket in place, if I put that pocket here on this page, there'd be a lot of extra floating space. And I didn't like the way that looked. So I'm going to have us cut that. If you'd like to cut that page down to size, you can do that with us, or you can kind of just leave it large. So We're the middle of page 7. We want to trim the navy chunky striped insert to 6 inches wide, then trim a half inch from the top and the bottom. Okay. We are going to, yeah, that one, sukwang, right? I always love to pronounce that. Sukwang. So we're going to trim the the width first. And the reason we're going to trim the width first, I don't think I ended up using this long piece, but if we trim the width first, you now have a really long piece that you can use to decorate another page if you're adding another page in your book. So let's go ahead and trim it to 6 inches wide first. That's so weird. Reggie, the cat, I just noticed him. He is on the floor like sleeping next to my rolling cart. It's weird that he's not in his little bucket on my desk. He didn't startle me, but I'm like, wait a minute, that's the cat. All right, so we're trimming this 6 inches wide. We are trimming from the right edge. We don't want to trim from the left because then we just have to repunch our holes. So 6 inches wide. That piece we know that's a great decorative piece, right? If we wanted to add more pages, we could take a plain old piece of white cardstock, smack that down on it, and then it kind of works with everything else that we're doing. I don't think I used it. I guess we'll see, right? All right, so we cut the width of our page to 6 inches, and now we are going to trim half inch from the top and half inch from the bottom. Half inch off the top and half inch off the bottom. Now, I didn't end up, I don't believe, using these pieces, but you could also use these pieces if you wanted to add a little bit more of a decorative element to one of your, I mean, just like a navy piece, right? You could use that for something. All right, now we have our page ready to go. So for our pocket, we need this green piece. That is a 4x4, the green map piece. So let's find that. What is on the other side of that? Do, 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 do. Green map, where are you? I know it's here somewhere. I've got all my pieces. Oh, there they are. There it is. It's hiding. It is the opposite side of the key paper. All right. Was just hiding behind some other pieces. Turn that over. That is my 4x4 piece that we're going to make into a pocket. So I did the same technique again with my little circle punch. If you don't have a circle punch, don't panic. You don't need to go buy a circle punch. If you have washi, most of you probably have a roll of washi floating around somewhere, right? I can take a roll of washi tape and put it right up there at the top, and I could take a pencil and draw my little circle. I could either draw it in the inside of the roll like that, or I could draw it on the outside of the roll like that. Depending on what I do there, it's going to give me a narrower circle or a wider circle. So you can kind of see that right there. That was the inside, it'd give me a smaller notch. That was the outside, that'd give me a larger notch. So I don't have to have a circle punch in order to do that. If you don't have washi, oh my goodness, I'm not even going to believe that. If you don't have washi, run up to the kitchen and grab a spice jar, right? Because kind of similar circumference, similar diameter, circumference, I guess doesn't really matter, of your little half circle there. So don't have to have a punch. What I will do is I'll just do this since I started with that. We'll just now go ahead and cut out my little half circle there that I used my washi to create. If you have a circle punch, absolutely use a circle punch. That's why it's optional on your list. You don't have to have it. Even if you want to use kind of that technique, that idea, you can, make it work. All right, so that is our pocket. We are going to turn over, apply adhesive along sides and bottom, half inch from the bottom of the page. So because it's a pocket again, we're doing the same thing. I'm using my double-sided 1/4 inch Sukwang tape. I use 1/4 inch. There are different widths. There's half inch, there's 1/8 of an inch, but I use 1/4 of an inch because a lot of times and we haven't done any of it yet. I think we'll get to, yeah, we'll get to it on the next page. Where I'm doing a certain type of score. Well, I'll just mention it when I get to the next page. Doesn't make sense for me to try to explain it now because you'll see it. Uh, that gives me still a lot of surface area for things to fit in my pocket. So do our little trick here. Open and fold, open and fold, open and fold. All right. And last one. Come on. She posted that in the Lail by Mail Facebook group. So you should be able to see it in the group. If you're not part of the Lail by Mail Facebook group, you just need to go to Facebook and find the Lail by Mail Facebook group and say, hey, let me in. And when I see it, I'll say, hey, you're in. It's just to keep the riffraff out. So we are about a half of an inch from the bottom of the page, centered left to right-ish. There we go. There we go. And there we go. As with the other pockets we talked about, if you wanted to gusset them or use foam adhesive to make those pockets, so you can push more stuff in, you can. All right. So next up we have, next up we have this little navy polka dot sticker. It just kind of felt raw right there, right? It's just like, ooh, we have that weird place, and well, we have this navy polka dot sticker that would fit really well. So we're just going to put that right at the bottom of that pocket, and then I will trim off that pocket's 4 inches. So if you want to trim on your trimmer first, you could do that, or you could just kind of adhere it and then cut it off. We do not use this little piece for anything else. So if you want to get rid of it, you can, or you want to put it back on your sticker sheet, you can. All right, so now we have these pieces. I'm going to might as well just do this. We'll do this together. Wanderlust. We're starting with Wanderlust. Wanderlust is from one of these little pieces. All right, so our little cut aparts that were all different sizes and shapes with the yellow on the backside. Wanderlust is going to go right there. So it's about half of an inch from the left edge. We're going to make use of that white space right there. So we're going to start layering on top of that, starting with our Remember slide die cut. Like that. Jennifer said, I didn't read the instructions and stuck my pocket down without trimming the striped paper. That was fun to pull up. Yeah, nope, you know what? And here's the thing. I am the worst offender at that. And it's bad when I am not following the instructions, because then if I'm not following the written instructions, even though I designed it, I get in my head of myself and I'm like, oh yeah, I know what I did here. And then if I take us all down the path of no return, then that's always a fun one to say, oh, I'm sorry guys, we got to fix that. It happens every once in a while. So, all right, now we have two little pieces of luggage. One is a suitcase and the other one is a little duffel bag. So this is all about the blue and the green, everything kind of navy and green on this page. There's my little duffel bag, and then we're looking for a regular suitcase, kind of like the old-fashioned suitcase, right? Isn't that crazy? That's an old-fashioned suitcase because it doesn't have any wheels on it, and we have to like carry it. So what I've done here, I did pop dots behind this guy. I wanted this guy to be lifted up. And the placement of that, we want to put that so that we're really not seeing that green behind it. We see a little bit of the white poking through from that, but then we see nothing else behind it. At least that's the way I put it. We hanging in there, friends? I'm going to say we probably have about another hour. So if you want to stick with us and finish live, you can. Otherwise, if you're starting to see things, see double. If you're starting to see double because you're getting tired, then you just watch the end whenever you're ready. And that guy just kind of goes down flat. We have a matching old-fashioned luggage, right? We've got a matching set. That guy just kind of layers right there on top of him. Then we've got this little arrow. That arrow is a die cut. Go to my die cut arrows section. And that guy is pop dotted also. So we'll just throw a few pop dots on the back of him. Oh, yes, we should take a hydration break. Thank you, Terry. I forget. I get going and I forget. So, um, mm, thank you. Um, yes, Paula said it is 11 on the East Coast. It's always hard. I pretty much always do nighttime classes. The reason for that is most of the time we are listing on Saturdays, and that makes for a really long day if we are listing in the morning, kind of into the afternoon, and then if we do class, that makes for a really long day. So, and I just generally don't have us do any kind of class on Sunday because I think, you know what, I would like to have a break, even though I'm probably working anyway. But so we do classes at night, which I know it's hard depending on which side of the country. Assuming you're living in North America, it's totally different. Obviously, if you live in another continent, but we start early on the West Coast. We start at 5 p.m. and that is early for a lot of people. If they're working, they're not maybe off work then, but it makes it easier for our East Coast friends because that means we're starting at 7 on the East Coast. But then that means that we're ending maybe around midnight for our East Coast friends and then 10 for our West Coast. 10, 9, 9, right? Yeah, anyhow, I can do the math. All right. I am cutting off on the highlights. I am cutting off the ends because they will not fit in that little top part of that arrow if I don't. So we'll just get that going right there. And then it fits. Just snip off the ends, those kind of little raggedy. They're not too ragged. They're just not straight ends. All right. Last thing that we have to do for that is our tag. If you purchased the project kit, then your bakery bag had a couple more tags in it. It had that guy in it. If you purchased maybe the far and wide big bundle and then the add-on supplies, your add-on supplies also had the bag with the tag in it. If you were putting this together on your own, then if you have a tag, great. If you don't have a tag, you could take a piece of cardstock and snip the edges and make it into a tag. So this guy is going in here, but it is way too long. For me, that was really long. I wanted this little memories piece to kind of hang from the top of that tag. So I ended up trimming the tag. We're trimming that tag to 5.5 inches. So we're trimming a little bit off the bottom, 5.5 inches. We want it to be. So 5.5 inches right there. I will tell you if you're making your own tag, that is 5.5 inches tall by about a little bit wider than 3, just a titch wider than 3. So I would say 5.5 by 3 if you're making your own tag. I love that color. I love this color combination. That kind of really bright green and navy. Love the color combination. So I think Paula said, love that page. I think this is the one that she's talking about. Um, yeah, Paula said too, it's hard for me to craft in the week. So I just watch until I fall asleep. Perfect, right? And that's the beauty of the way that we do it. Or not just what YouTube is, right? You can watch it at any time. All right, last piece that we need is memories. Those of you that have been around for a really long time, when Becky had designed this particular paper, I'm like, oh my gosh, that M is so fun. That M totally reminds me of a brand from way back in the day. Anybody remember that? Remember that? See if anybody remembers. So what I need to do is I need to punch a hole in that tag. So I'm going to just kind of stick it, or not tag, in that memories piece. The M memories piece. That's kind of a little hint of what it might look like from back in the day. Punch a hole in that center. And I ended up just kind of freehanding lines on that tag. So I will probably do some journaling on that tag. If you wanted to do that, you could. Otherwise, you could, I don't know, decorate it more or put a photo on it or something. But we need to now get those two pieces together. Making memories. I think that's Tracy. I think you probably making memories. That's what it reminds me of. And I think the reason why it reminded me of that, making memories logo was green and black. I'm going to show you. This may now once you see this, this may ring a bell for some of you. And it's funny when I said to Becky, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Becky, I love that. It totally reminds me of making memories." She's like, "Oh my gosh, it does." Oh, wrong one. That guy. Do you guys remember that? I mean, this is old. Well, this piece, the self-healing cutting mat is really old, but making memories hasn't been around. Oh my gosh, since probably 2008. I think 2008 is about when they closed their doors. Maybe 2009. I remember that because or not Simple Story, Scenic Route Paper Company, one of the paper crafting companies I worked for in the past. They shut down. That was 2008, 2009. Scenic Route was 2008 when they shut down, and Making Memories, I believe, was 2009. That was that whole um, um, recession. There was a whole big recession that happened in 2008. So we lost some good companies back then. And I was interviewing with Making Memories, and I went through several rounds of interviewing with Making Memories, and all of a sudden, it all went silent, and I didn't hear for a really long time. And I was trying to be patient, and I followed up, and then eventually they shut their doors, and I'm like, "Oh, that's why I wasn't hearing back. That makes sense now." All right, we need an 8-inch piece of our string. So let's get that to 8 inches. I'm going to cheat here. We'll use my little 6-inch ruler. We'll go 6, and then we'll go 2 more. And this is ish, right? Like I said, you've got plenty of string. And this guy will just go right here. Basically going through, I set the card on top of the tag, and then just kind of, I didn't even loop like that. Oh, I must have had to loop. I had to loop. So then we're just tying a really small little bow. Yeah, so just kind of hold it together. And I would work with that, but I'm just going to leave it looking messy like that. But you can work with that until it looks like a nice, cute bow. Because mine's kind of a hot mess right now. One little trick that I usually do with if I'm making a bow like that I wouldn't be later separating those pieces, I will get it to it looks all nice, and then I will use a little dab of maybe liquid glue and just kind of maybe put a couple pieces, tack a couple pieces in place just so it kind of sits nice, but we won't do that now. All right, backside, nothing. We're doing nothing because photos, once your photos are added, we're adding that wonder, wander, repeat. So we'll leave it like that for now. That is going to take us to, oh, not quite. We're going to take us to another one of the products that was in that in your kit. And if you didn't do the kit, but you did the Far and Wide Big Bundle and you purchased the add-on supplies, you have this little envelope that is part of that kind of add-on supplies, or it came with your kit. This is what we're doing here. So I'm just going to do one piece here. So an envelope is a really easy thing to add as a page in your book, right? We've got envelopes around. These are envelopes for a standard size card. I think it's an A2 card. I think that's what it's called. But you could use a bigger envelope. You could use smaller envelopes, wider envelopes, whatever you have hanging around the house. So all we're doing to start is we are punching holes. So make sure this is the closed part of the envelope. This is the part of the envelope on the right that can open. So along the straight closed edge of the envelope, go ahead and line up your little template and punch your holes. What's fun about an envelope is then you can slide things in the envelope. So it's kind of a different version of a pocket, right? Got those little insides of those punches everywhere now. All right, so I have started with this kind of little postcard looking piece. You don't have one that says R&R on it. None of us have one that says R&R on it. R&R, like rest and relaxation, is a rub-on. So we're just looking for that piece. It's one of our die cuts. And we are applying adhesive to just kind of the maybe back third. Let's see. Jennifer said the envelope may be different than yours. My flap is much longer and the word stickers don't fit. Oh, right here? It is? Okay. So, I was not aware of that. Let's do this. If your flap is much longer, Jennifer, I'd come in. Can you cut it? Can you cut it right here? Let me tell you, if you happen to have, and apologies, friends, I didn't know that we had two different size envelopes. So I was not aware of that. So let's look at this. This is about 1 3/4. Your little part here is about 1 3/4 inches. So uh, you didn't notice until you started sticking these down, yeah? If you have not done this yet and your envelope has a flap that is not about 1 3/4 inches, just come in, open it up like this, make the mark of where 1 3/4 inches is, and then this piece isn't here yet, then cut off that excess, okay? So you have a shorter flap. I had no idea, friends. I am so sorry. If you ended up with an envelope that is uh-oh, hold on, hold on. Terry is saying stop. No, no, no. Okay, what do we have going on, Terry? We'll give Terry a second to type that. Let's see what you're saying. While Terry is typing, I'm going to talk about this piece. So this piece, I am turning over and I'm just putting my adhesive on kind of that back. Let's see. All right. She said, you can't cut the flap until you measure the opening of the envelope. Do you mean right this part right here? Because is this going to make it too short? You mean, does my envelope go right here? The bottom part of my envelope go right here? So the flap still covers the opening. We want to make sure that the flap still covers over here. So because I don't know what, I'm not sure what some of you are looking at. It will be, yes, it will be too short. Okay, so let's talk about what we could do to fix it. I have an idea. Let's take something that we did not use. You've got a couple of options here. And I'm kind of flying blind because I'm not quite sure what some of you have. I know not everyone has that. Um, you have some extra pieces that we did not use. This is the back side of the paper cover. This big red piece is the back side of our luggage. So I think what we could do would be to take part of this and tuck it in. It actually will even, it should fit. We could tuck it in like this. It's almost like we have a lined envelope, right? So if your piece maybe comes down to here, would that still work? All right. So Terry, I won't be able to see the picture yet. Let's do this. Let's hold off on this page because some of you have, it sounds like your envelope configuration is a little bit different. And once again, apologies for that. I did not know we had two different size, not size. I think the envelopes are the same size. It's just that sounds like some of them have a longer piece, a little longer flap. So I will show you what I did here. I'll kind of walk through it, but I'm going to suggest that you wait, to do this page. Once I see what Terry has, and actually I have to go to the office tomorrow, the warehouse. So I will grab another kit and see both of my kits, my original kit and the kit I'm using to put the project together have that same size envelope. So I'll have the team at the warehouse go through the kits, find the envelope that's a little bit wider here. I will come up with an alternate solution for those of you that have a longer piece here. So we'll either do a pocket stuffer or something so you can still kind of get the same effect. All right. So watch for now. See what I do or see what I did, and then we'll go from there. And then once I get that figured out, I will send that out in an email. Okay, so we were here, we were looking for this piece. I put adhesive just kind of on the back third, and this guy is sitting here. So it basically is hanging off the top of that flap. When I open it, I have that just kind of really plain piece. On the back side, I have taken that this little photo frame, and it goes right there. Oops, don't make sure it's not upside down because there are words on the back of that. So it ends up making almost like a little bit of a white kind of mat for that piece. All right. Thank you, Terry. Thanks so much for sending that. And then I'll get you, we'll make sure that you've got options. So you kind of have an alternate way if you have an envelope that's slightly different than the two that I have. All right. So this guy will go right there. So that when we open it up, we have a nice little spot to, I didn't end up putting a photo there. I just put a little suitcase right in the center of that. And then used this little sticker that says vacay time. Vacay time is just going right there. It kind of fits perfectly right there. In your pocket, you can add memorabilia, tickets, small things, maybe money. Maybe you've gone to a foreign country and maybe you want to put not maybe a bill that's not too high of a denomination, but maybe like $1, a small a small amount, a small dollar amount. You know what I meant. You can put that in that pocket. That might be kind of fun if you wanted, and put whatever you want in there. But as we close that up, you end up with space above and space below. I have added some different word strip stickers and some different stickers. All right. Your instructions will show you and tell you which ones to add. But again, we're going to hold off on that if you have an envelope that's a little bit wider over here. And you'll know you'll have one because these guys, it sounds like, are going to have a little bit of a hard time fitting because this comes down so low. So bear with me. I'll get you figured out there. On the back side, we are going to not do anything together on this because kind of everything kind of centers around your photo. You have a black photo mat that's pre-cut. If you want to use that, then that would be the size of your photo that you put in the center. We've got that is a die cut that I pop dotted, exploring new places and new discoveries. So that one is kind of ready to go depending on which version that you have. All righty. So now we have not too many things left to do, even though it may seem like we have a lot left to do because you're like, Lael, we are all the way. We're just now hitting our third chipboard divider. That doesn't mean that there are equal number of pages in between each chipboard divider. That also doesn't mean that there are an equal number of interactive things that take a little bit longer for us to do within each chipboard divider. So we're in the home stretch. This one, we are using one of those large die cuts now in a totally different way that we've used it before. So we've punched holes in one to make it a page. We've made one a pocket. We have used one on the cover as just a large decorative element. And this one, we're making a little door. So this guy opens, which means something in here also opens. So we've got a little door here that's hinged on the right, opens on the left. So let's grab that large die cut. We are now at the top of page 8. Top of page 8. This is the front of the chipboard divider. We are going to, let's go ahead and hear that little tab first. That little tab says, the one that I use says, remember this. We have one that says bucket list and we have one that says remember this. So, okay. Mine is somewhere. You should have 2 of these left. One says bucket list and one says remember this. I'm not sure where my remember this is, so I'll just go ahead and put my bucket list down there. Put that guy right there. All right, now we have this little guy. So in order to make this a door, we need to create a little hinge over here, right? Our hinge is on the right. We're opening on the left. Now, I want to talk about hinges because there are two different ways to do this. Neither way is right or wrong. I think it's important that you know the way I do it because if you do it a different way, your door is going to look very different than mine. All right. So we're all going to start out the same way. We want to score a 1/2 inch from the right edge of this large die cut. Right. So I'm just going to scoot it over a little bit so my edge hits 3 because then it's really easy for me to figure out where the 1/2 inch is from there. So 1/2 inch from the right edge of this large ticket die cut. When I make hinges like this to create doors, I'm going to say 99.9% of the time I do it this way. And the instructions walk you through exactly how I'm doing it. We have scored the edge. I'm telling us to turn it over. I'm telling us to apply our adhesive to the scored edge. All right, if we apply our adhesive to the scored edge, when we adhere our piece right here, we still have our full ticket. We see the full width of the ticket. And so it is opening for us this way, right? Which means we have our adhesive on that scored edge, on the white grid part of the scored edge. That is how I do my hinges most of the time. Now, some people will do this. They still score it a 1/2 inch, but then they fold it under. We're not doing any folding at all. Some people don't do this. I'm just showing you. Some people will do this. And then they're applying their adhesive to this edge, which can totally be done. But if you do that, you just lost a 1/2 inch width in your ticket. All right. So you can do it either way. Just know the way I do it. In both cases, we're scoring a 1/2 inch from the right edge. But in my way, we're turning it over and our double-sided tape is going along the scored edge, not the folded scored edge, the scored edge. So the white part. And that just makes it so our fold is 1/2 inch longer, wider, excuse me, than it would be otherwise. Turn over, apply double-sided tape along the scored edge and adhere 1/4 inch from the right edge to create a door that opens from the left. This is where we are. So this guy goes right here, about even top to bottom. Pull that out. And there we go. There is our little door. Opens from the left, scored on the right. All right, next up, we have lay the travel die cut tag on top of the large tag. That little guy, that is a tag. It's not one of our fussy cut pieces. It is a tag that is a die cut. It already has a little tiny hole in it for us, so that makes it easier. We're not trying to punch that little hole. We are going to trim an 8-inch piece of white string. It's like the string that just keeps on going and going and going. Scrappy Lisa, yes, you could absolutely use tip and tape. You totally could use tip and tape, which is a clear matte PET tape that I sell. That's really nice and strong and sturdy too. We'll do the same thing. We'll do something similar for you. All right, so there's my 8-inch piece. I'm going to loop that through the back side of that little tag. Set it on top of the hole in that large die cut. Loop it through like that. And this guy really hangs. It's pretty free flowing, right? It's not adhered anywhere and it's kind of a longer piece. So I just took the ends and tied the ends in a knot. that 8 inches to make sure that you've got, plenty of length there to tie your knot. You're not trying to tie with little tiny pieces. You guys know how to tie a knot. I'm trying to do this so you can see it, but you don't need to see what I do. There. And instead of continuing to pull, I stop and then start to pull instead of pulling from the little ties, I stopped and I pulled from the loop, and that usually will get it really tight for me. So it just kind of hangs there, free flowing. Now we want to open the tag door. So open the door, and I added a couple of stickers that says a day in, right wherever you are there. And down here, the heart this place sticker. What we have going on over here, we have a door now that hinges on the left and opens on the right. Just like we did this guy, we scored a 1/2 inch. We're going to turn it over, apply our adhesive to the scored edge, and we're going to adhere that to the left edge of our page. Okay. So this guy now, we need we'll do this piece first, I guess. 5 1/4 by 8 blue piece. It has the airport signs on the back. So that is here. Whoopsie, not that guy. 5 1/4 by 8. This piece should fit right here. So it's just going right there next to our little door. We're not worried about what's over here on the left yet. I just turn that over, rotate it. It's easier for me to get to since I'm right-handed if I do it that way. So we're working right to left, right? I have added 2 pieces right here. Those are 2 4 3/4 by 3 1/4 keys pieces. So if you wanted to add those and then put photos on top, you could. I would suggest that you wait to add those until you kind of have an idea what you want to do there in the center. Now we're ready for this door, this outside door. So basically we have a door that closes and then a door that closes on top of it. We need the 5 3/4 by 8 stamps piece. That would be, you have 2 of these. One is wider than the other. They're both 8 inches tall. One is 5 3/4 by 8 and one is 6 by 8. So I would love it if you'd get your ruler out and just measure to make sure that you have the one that is 5 3/4 by 8. Okay. And that's important because if it is too wide, it will not, it's going to be too wide, and then your door's not going to be able to open because this guy will be in the way. Okay. So 5 3/4 by 8 is the piece that we want. We're going to score a 1/2 inch from the left edge of this piece. 1/2 inch from the left edge. Here's a little tip. It's kind of hard to get maybe over here, 1/2 inch from the left edge. So if I rotate that, I can do 1/2 inch from the right edge, and that just makes it a lot easier for me to do. I rotated that because I've got lots of room over here to work with. So now it is 1/2 inch from the left edge. I score 1/2 inch from the left edge because I use 1/4 inch score tape, 1/4 inch Suquang, 1/4 inch double-sided tape. So it makes it really easy. I've got plenty of room here for my 1/4 inch on that 1/2 inch space. I don't have to be exact. I could score it at a 1/4 inch, but then if I'm using 1/4 inch score tape, then I have to just be really, I have to make sure to get it on there straight, and just gives me a little bit of wiggle room that way. That's typically why I'm scoring 1/2 inch there, 1/2 inch here. This guy is going to open your door and come all the way over here so it is covering the holes, and set it down so it covers up the kind of meeting at the top and bottom of that blue piece. Pull that out, repunch our holes. And now we have some double doors going here, like double Dutch doors. They're not Dutch doors. I shouldn't say that because Dutch doors are something entirely different. Like a double Dutch bus, not even that either. We've got a door that opens and then another door that opens. All right. Last thing that I did, since this piece has curved corners, I also am going to curve, rounded corners. It's getting late, you can tell. That's not a curved corner. Well, I guess it is, but it's a rounded corner. Where is my corner rounder? Oh, here it is. I'm going to come in and round those corners. So you guys, that's another technique. That is another technique that if you are working in a mini book, sometimes it's all about creating more space. And that's what we did here. Normally, if we were just working with this page, we'd only have this space. Just gave ourselves more real estate. And the real estate that we gave ourselves, when we look at it like this, I added a couple of die cuts here. If I wanted, I could have given us an additional amount of real estate. We could have put a piece here and created another pocket and put more things in, right? Sometimes I will even make another fold so that I could kind of keep folding and folding and folding. My piece that was getting folded needs to keep getting narrower, 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 right? What I mean by that is like I could have done this guy right here. So when it opened, this could have folded. I wouldn't have used that piece because it's got in the back, but you know what I mean? We could have kept folding and folding and folding, and it would have all eventually sat nicely under that little page. So a lot of different things that you can do with just doors like that. When I say door, it's just a piece that we've scored on one end and it opens on the other side. So that's all we will do to this guy right now. You've got a good start on it. When you are ready to finish, you can decide if you want to use those two pieces for photo mats, if you want to do any writing here or do photos or whatever you want to do. You do have pieces that you could make an extra pocket here if you wanted and just kind of keep going. All right, backside of this. There's nothing that we will, oh, actually, there is. There's something we need to do here. I just found the page that I'm like, oh, when we got to the end, I'm like, oh, I don't know where I used that. I want you to go to the back of your album. Remember this page when I said, don't worry, we'll just go ahead and put it in the back of our book. When we find it or when we figure out where we need to use it, we'll know exactly where it is because it's in the back of our book. So that's the one we were looking for. That is that dot grid. That's one of our pages that came out of the book when we first took all of our pages out. So I took this page and I just adhered it right here over the entire back of that chipboard divider. Again, rotate both of the pieces because it makes it a little bit easier since I'm right-handed. There you go. So we'll do one more thing right now. I wasn't looking at our instructions. I need to be looking at our instructions because we would have just had this adhere it. We're doing another door here, another door that hinges on the left and opens on the right. Okay, so let's grab, we're at the bottom of page 8. This is the back chipboard divider. We just adhered the dot grid insert. We need the 6x8 light blue map piece. It has the airplane windows on the back. We have 2 of those, so grab whichever one you'd like to. And that guy, we're going to score 1/2 of an inch from the left edge. We're basically doing another, oh, that's the trimmer. We're basically doing another door like we just did on the front. Once again, I am going to rotate it and then do my score over here. It's just a lot easier for me to get at than trying to do it here and hold on to it and get my fingers in there. So we have our score 1/2 inch along the left edge. Those die cuts, those large die cuts, you guys, I am so excited about those. I love those. They've been so fun to work with. I will tell you, today we just wrapped up one of our next collections. All the design is done. It will now go into production and it is a Halloween collection. And we did the large die cuts again. And oh my gosh, just you wait. They're so fun. We did some really fun things with the large die cuts on that. All right, so this is our little page here. We are going to just reveal part of our adhesive. and line this up again so it is kind of about the same amount of space between the top and bottom and left edge. We just need to steer clear of the holes. So wherever you put it, make sure you are to the left of the holes. You don't want that door to be covering the holes in any way, or when it's in your book, it's going to make it really hard for that door to open. So what I did to finish the front of that, and I will have you guys wait on this because I want you to decide what photos you want to use. You may go with that configuration. You may totally change it up. Photos, our one of our little multi different size pieces. That one went there. I put a little "we are here" die cut on it, put travel word below it. And then we're kind of again giving ourselves a little page turner. That page turner is that other globe. So the other globe, I'm just going to put this on now. That other globe is going to hang off of the edge of the page. So I only want adhesive along that back of the left edge, and it will go right like that. Just when you're doing that, make sure it doesn't cover the hole, or else you'll not be happy when you go to put it in your book. As that opens up, you've got lots of room here to do whatever you want. I didn't do anything here very specifically because there's a lot going on there. If you wanted to put maybe a black piece of cardstock and put a photo, maybe right there, so you've got windows and windows, you could. But this is whatever you want to do with. You guys have a good amount of paper left, different bits and pieces of different papers that you could do another flip out if you wanted, that you could do a pocket here if you wanted. You've got kind of lots of options there. So that is the back of our chipboard divider. Our next page is another one of our pocket pages, two 4x6 pockets, one on the top and one on the bottom. Well, hello, Mr. Reggie. Buddy, hi. He's sitting on I've got a side table next to me. So I've got stuff to the left, and stuff to the right, lots of different things. He's on my little side table. I did do another little kind of floating piece here. That is fussy cut again from our large die cut packaging. So that is that little guy. Oh, hello, mister. Hello. Excuse us. Sorry, you're gonna get a little peep of a cat there. Come on, buddy. Here, come here. Let me just see if I can put him in his little bucket here on my table, or if not, he's not gonna. He would love to be. He'd love to be crafting with us. So we'll see if he. There's Kitty Paw. We'll see if he will hang out where I just put him. Reggie, I know, right? Okay. So I just fussy cut that little tag and then punched a hole in it, and it now is just. It's like this fun little piece that is just hanging out there. On the back side, because I didn't want it to be empty, I took the adventure sticker, put it on the back side, and then just needed to trim the width a little bit because it's not quite, it's a little bit too wide, but that you can do later. Now let's go to this page. Super simple. We're just basically going to add the pieces to the pockets, and then I'll have you guys finish it up later. There we go. So at the bottom, we have super simple. We're just going to grab this guy. What a great day to wander. That you have room for writing there. Now, I'm not going to get on my soapbox and say, hey, you took an awesome trip. Maybe you should do a little bit of writing about what you did on the trip. I won't get on my soapbox and tell you to do that. You do you. So if you're like, yeah, I don't like to write in my projects, I say, hey, great, that's fine. You can put a photo there, or I don't know, figure out what else you want to put there. Up top, we have a 6x4, 6-inch wide, 4-inch tall, little luggage tag piece. Has the black words on the back, so that will just go right in there. Then you've got photo on top and a little word strip sticker that says "Love this view." Going to the back side, which is something a little tiny bit different here. This guy, favorite sites, restaurant, food, and favorite hotel. We are getting that from right here. Again, from that cut apart. We really stretch these cut apart pieces, right? I should tell you. This is the one piece that I did not use. These from all those cut aparts. These are meant to be cut into each day. And again, I didn't want to assume that your trip was a particular number of days. So I didn't use any of these. But if you have a trip that's 7 days and you want to kind of document every day in your project, you could certainly cut each of those labels up and use them on each day. Or maybe you're only documenting this was day 2 and this was day 6, but I didn't use that piece. Okay, but this guy. So this guy actually is a little door. This one is a dog door. Think about a dog door. A dog door hinges at the top and opens from the bottom. This piece hinges at the top, opens from the bottom. It is adhered to the top of the pocket page. So that's just kind of a fun way to add a little bit more real estate. You can write in those pieces and then you flip it up and you add a little photo on the back side. So with that, we're going to do the same way that we've been doing any of our doors now. We will score a 1/2 inch from the top of this piece. It's 3.5 tall, so we'll score it. Well, it's a little bit shorter than 3.5 tall. It's more like 3/8. I still scored it at 3 anyway. Doesn't really matter what you do there. Unless you have like 1/2 inch score tape, then you'll want to score it really at 1/2 inch. Okay, we're going to take our little guy there. And this one, again, it has to sit on top of the pocket page, right? If we put it on the inside, it's kind of, we just wasted a lot of time because if it's in the pocket page, then we will never know to lift it up. So when you do this, I recommend um, doing that, making sure you get your cards very bottom of the pocket because that's going to tell you where to put this piece. I put this piece, let's get it over here, about a 1/2 of an inch from the edge, and it goes to the top of the card. It is not going to the top of the pocket page. You might be like, well, Lael, I don't understand. How come this pocket page has all this extra real estate at the top? And then when you get to a 6x8 pocket, you might be like, Lael, wow, it has a lot of real estate at the top. Why do I have all this extra um, blank pocket up at the top? The reason for that is most manufacturers that are making pocket pages, they want all the pocket pages to be the same height. So what that means is they have to be the tallest of the pocket pages. When you think about a 6x8 pocket, you have a pocket page that's one big pocket. There are no seams in it. Every time you add a seam, you add a little bit of extra space. And when we think about our pocket page at the very beginning, that has 1, 2, 3 seams, that means all of our pocket pages have to be as tall as this one. Or it'd be kind of weird because the pocket pages would be varying height when you bought them and you'd be like, why is that? That's why, if you've ever wondered why, especially when you get the put like a 6x8 piece and a 6x8 pocket page, you have all that extra real estate because they have to account for all the seams in the one with the most seams. So I bring all of that up just to say when you are placing that piece, I have placed that piece again where the top of the card is, not where the top of the pocket is. So you can see there is about 1/4 of an inch from the top of the pocket to where I placed mine because that's where the top of the card is. If that bugs you, just get your trimmer out and cut off the excess if you want. All right, so that little guy will just fold up right there like that. I've added a photo on the back side, a photo here, a little sticker. Your instructions will tell you and show you all these things because now I'm going to have to skip all of this down here. I don't want us to really do any of this yet because I don't want to assume that that is the size photo that you're going to put there. Your instructions will show you and tell you there are actually 2 fussy cut pieces there. It is. Oh no, actually that's not true. One of the pieces is fussy cut. One of the pieces is a one of your cards, one of your little varying cut aparts. It is that. So it's not that guy. We've already used that guy somewhere else. It's the single one. So I'm just going to take that piece right now. I'll tuck it back there just so I don't lose it. That guy, that camera, I fussy cut that out before. That is from our uh, packaging for the large die cuts. So I'll just tuck that one in there now too. So it's there when I'm ready to use it. And then road trip sticker and let's go. I'll grab the road trip, excuse me, not road trip sticker, road trip die cut. I'll grab that because it's kind of handy in my die cuts. And then you have a bunch of die cut keys and we haven't used, I mean, I've used them throughout the project. We just haven't actually ever really stuck any down. So your keys can kind of be interchangeable if you want. Okay, so that one's good. That one is good. So you guys, if you stuck with me through part 1, part 2, part 3, due to the technical difficulties, holy Anna, then we're almost done. And you can say you finished the project, right? We got every page. You have something in every page. It's just that maybe you don't have the little decorating done. You haven't added the little word strip stickers. You haven't added all the little different parts. I'm grabbing the next 3 pages all together because I think it helps if you can see them all together. This is page 1. This is page 2, which is a little wider. And this is page 3, which is a little wider. So they all stack on top of each other and they use the tab stickers to kind of differentiate one page to the next, to the next. So we'll kind of build all 3 of those pages together. Starting with the top one, that takes us to the, oh my gosh, we're the middle of page 9 now. Middle of page 9. This is the navy arrow piece front. So these are kind of little, if you look at them, they're kind of little arrows. We've got the front of the navy piece. That guy is this one. It is the piece that is 4x8. This is the airport signs piece. What I want us to do, we're going to do something very different here. Normally, I would have us punch our holes along the left edge. I want to have us punch our holes along the right edge of this side. We're going to do that because if we punch the holes along the right edge, you know that all your signs are right side up. If we're punching our holes along the left edge of this side, I can't guarantee you that you might not punch the holes, that when you turn the page, those pieces will be upside down. It's a little bit more obvious if we do it this way. So turn it over to the airport signs edge and we're going to punch on the right side. There we go. Here's my little piece. I am punching my holes along the right edge. As you're doing that, make sure you can read your signs. If your signs look to appear, if they're upside down, that means your paper's upside down. So flip it. Even though we do this, if we were doing this class in person, I would have said that. And I would have said, everybody listen up. And I would have said, okay, everybody listen up again. And I'd say, hey, everybody listen, this is important. And we would have gone through all of that and I would have explained it. And you know what would have happened? Someone, depending on how big the class was, more than one person, because I've done it a lot. There's a reason I have us do it that way. People would get to the other side and they're like, oh no, my signs are upside down. And I'm like, oh, well, you took a creative liberty. And what I don't tell them and what everybody else in the class that did it the right way doesn't tell them is like, dummy, if you were listening now. I'm kidding, right? Totally kidding. But I do try to guide us down a path to prevent you from making a mistake that I've seen a lot of people make. So we punched along the right edge. Now we turn it over and now our holes are on the left edge and we are good. So Laura said, I still have the little white tag left over from the big, medium, and small set that came in the bag. Did we use that? You know what? We did not use that. When I put the kit together, you had all the pieces, and when I was finished designing, I didn't end up using that tag piece. So that's why you have that tag still. You can use the tag wherever you want it, but I did not use the tag. And this is what Laura's talking about, that little tiny tag that's left. We had 3 tags, shipping tags. We had a big, medium, and small. We didn't use the small one together. All right. So next up, The only thing I'm going to have us do on all of these pages is basically come in and add our little tab stickers. So go to your sticker sheet, and we are looking for our tab stickers up at the top. So I'm using the teal one up at the top, and I went down about a half of an inch. That is meant to be folded in half. So we are adding half of it to the front and then turning the page and sticking it down on the back. What I will have you do to finish that page later is using a photo. My photo is 2.5 by 3.5 because that piece is 2.5 wide. So they kind of stack together. Oh, okay, okay. Oh, come on, internet. Come on. Come on. It's been so good. It's been so good. Come on. We'll just give it a minute here. It was a little bit slow there for a minute. It's looking at the clock. Okay, I think we're good. It's looking at the clock going, Lael, it's 10 o'clock Utah time. It's midnight East Coast time. Kind of pick it up. Okay, we're good. It just seemed to slow down a little bit on my end. All right, seemed to kind of get a little jerky, but I think we're good. So I would wait. I'm going to have you wait to add that piece because decide if you want to put that size photo there. Those are meant to kind of, be the same size. So when you're ready, you could add the travel piece, travel words, you could add that piece and then your photo below. Backside. I did nothing here because it's super decorative, right? It's just, it kind of needs to stand on its own because I think anything I put on the backside of that is really going to get lost. Now we're ready for our second piece. Our second piece in that kind of layered, the 3 layered pages. The second piece is bottom of page 9. We need the 5 by 8 white grid piece. That means we have 2 kind of big grid pieces left. It is not the one that has the postcards and passports on the side, right? We don't want that because when we turn the page, we'd see all that. We'd be like, wait a minute, what is that? So we are using that piece, right? The white grid on both sides. That piece is 5 by 8. We're going to punch our holes along at the left edge. And like so. Up at the top, you will add a die cut that says Vacation Highlights. Is that a die cut? It is a die cut. Along the bottom, we are adding the sticker that says Best Adventure. And below that, This Was Fun is a rub-on. What I will have us do together is do our second tab. That is the top of our sticker sheet. It is the green one with the little tiny rollaboard suitcase. This one goes about the center. So the thought here was that you had one in kind of the top half, top third, one in the center third, one in the bottom third. I didn't measure, just center-ish, right? Eek. There we go. And then fold that over so it meets on the back side. Right to the edge. There we go. That is our second page. So that one will go in next. On the back side of that, a couple more die cuts, vacay and travel. Travel definition rub on the bottom. And then I put a little let's go sticker there just because it kind of fit. You can do whatever you want here. If you want to add a photo, if you want to do more journaling, whatever you want to do in that big free space, and really in that same big free space. That's our second page that's kind of layering on top of, or layering behind, I guess I should say, the first one. That takes us to the third page. The third page is the page that is in our book, and it is that large polka dot. Now, that large polka dot, we need to trim both the width and the height because we want it to lay nicely underneath that page that we just did. So taking us to the top of, woo, this is it. This is it. Almost. No, we've got 11. We're almost done, guys. We're so close. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. We're so close. This is the coloring on this photo is really bizarre. So you're not missing anything. This is the front. This is the back. It's just that coloring was really, really, really off. So that's the front. That's the back side of it. So we need to trim the navy polka dot insert to 6 inches wide. Trim it to 6 inches wide. Ooh, and then I also cut some off the top. I think I forgot to tell us to do some off the top. All right, 6 inches wide. So there we go. Now you've got another nice little border piece there that you could use on anything. If you wanted to, you could even do something kind of fun like this. You could even create a page if you wanted, just like that. Punch your hole and you've got stuff to work on here. Or you could do that over, ooh, that would be fun, right? So you've got some pieces left that you can continue to play with. Now, this one, I need to trim the height. I did not tell us to trim the height on this one. We need to trim let's see, this is, grab my ruler. I think those are 8, right? Those are 8, yeah. So this we need to trim to 8 inches tall. We're just going to trim whatever we need off the top. Just a little bit. So it's the same height as the other two. I did not put that in the instructions, so apologies for that. This guy, the only thing I'm going to have us do is our little yellow tab at the bottom. Right? So that is, I don't know, about 1/2 inch from the bottom. That goes there, just like we've done the other two, meets up on the back side. So now on the front of that, I've used the Wander die cut, and then below that, I added 2 photos. So you can decide if you want to do 2 photos there, if you want to do 1 photo, whatever you want to do. Once you add whatever you're adding there, you will add that sticker. That is 1 sticker, and it just kind of works really well poking out of that little label. Backside, more photos. Photo, photo, and then you may decide to do a smaller photo and then a larger photo. If you do that, you could use that little explore piece. That is one of your tags, and you just cut some more twine and loop it through before you go ahead and adhere. So nothing else we're going to do there. We basically just wanted to get those 3 tabs on those pages, and then you can decide how you want to use those pages. Okie dokies, let's get that in there. Next up, we have a 6x8 pocket page. So the Simple Stories albums come with 3 or 4. I think 4. I think they come with 4 of the 6x8 pocket pages, basically just one big pocket. I have to say, these are my probably least favorite configuration of all their pocket pages. I'm always just like, man, I don't really know. I really like the divided pocket pages, but these I just sometimes struggle with. So I ended up using 2. So we'll go through, actually, I ended up using 3 of the 4. So I'll give you some different ideas on how you might use these. The only thing really I'm going to have us do is grab our 6x8 piece that is our airplane windows, and we're going to tuck that in. Then you have some decisions to make from there. How you want to add photos to that if you want to add photos. So I have added a 3x4 photo, and then on top of that, I put the our little piece, my favorite place to go is where I've never been. This little travel guy, fussy cut from our back of the large die cut packaging, right? Now this one, I fussy cut it. I didn't go into all these little places. I basically cut straight across the top and straight across the bottom. And then I kind of fussy cut around the L and around the T, but I didn't get super fussy, right? It's just straight and straight there. You can decide if and how you want to use that piece. Down here, if you are, depending on where you're doing, if you're adding a photo like that, those are just 2 of our fussy cut luggage tags. Okay, so that guy, and that guy. Those were the pieces that we fussy cut from the luggage tag. So if I wanted to do this right now, I could put both of those pieces in there and then that guy in there, and we're ready to go. When I am putting a 6x8 piece of paper in the pocket page like this, I've got about a half of an inch of extra pocket page there that's just floating around. That bugs me. So what I do, and I didn't tell you this in the instructions, it's just easier for me to explain. I cut that off. You don't have to, but I like to do that because that extra bit there, if it's a quarter of an inch, it's not too bad. But once it starts to get about a half of an inch, it just looks odd to me. So I just put it in my trimmer or use my scissors and just cut that right off. So it's just not that extra piece that's hanging there. On the back side, we've got we've got some kind of pieces that are left over here and there. So I'll show you what I did here. We had a long time ago, it feels like 8 years ago now, probably. We had cut one of the grid pages. It was one of the inserts from your book. It wasn't a piece of graph paper. It was one of the inserts from our book. Oh my gosh, way the heck back here. This one. We ended up trimming all of this off the edge of that page. So I've used a part of that we had left over. Let me get all the way back here again. Part of that to just kind of give myself a little bit of a background right there. So if you wanted to do that, there you could. This one really is going to depend a lot on what you want to do with the photo on here. So if you want to do the same size photo I did and kind of decorate around that, your instructions will tell you to trim that remaining part of the grid insert piece to 3¼ by 7. So I won't do that, but if I can find that, oh, here it is. I can find that piece. I'll just slide it in. So it's kind of like it'll be in there for when I'm ready on, how I decide I want to, what kind of photos I want to put on there. So I may use it the way that or not, but this will give you an idea. If you want to use that size photo, then you have that black words piece. So that one is 6 by 8 pocket page back. The 3.75 by 4 black words piece. So that would be, we don't have too many pieces left to go through to try to find that guy. So that was my little photo mat there. So I'll slide that in. There are two die cuts that I used. This die cut tag, so that is a tag, and that kind of little traveler's notebook. That's a Lail by Mail craft storage pouch. Not fun. Becky did that. I thought, oh my gosh, that's so fun. Looks like one of my little craft storage pouches. There's a little Lail by Mail right there that you really need. I can see that barely. You really need some good readers for that, or good prescription glasses, whatever you use, like progressives like me. And then that little ADV tag. And that is one of your pieces that is one of your die cuts. So I'll tuck all those in there and decide kind of when I'm ready, when I'm kind of getting to the end of my photos of documenting the trip, kind of what I want to put in there. This little guy is a really fun one. It is, oopsie, let's see where he is. Here we go. It's in my little words. This is just one of your little die cuts. I need an altitude change, right? Not an attitude change. I need an altitude change. That goes right there. So I'm going to pop that in there. Last thing that I did, once I kind of built all of that, I had this big space right there. That is a rub-on. So if you decide you want to design it that way, you have a picture in your instructions, and your instructions kind of tell you all those pieces. I'm just tucking all those pieces in there, so when I'm ready, they're there. We can do this little guy, this little Explorer sticker. I put it right on top of that hole. So I decorated a little bit of my margin there. I will show you one of my favorite things to do with washi. And this is just the washi is not part of your kit, but I just want to show you something fun. Especially when you get to maybe something that's a little bit more plain like this, and you decide, hey, maybe I want to do a little bit more decorating. Actually, I'll hit this in a minute because I've got a really good page to show you that on. Let's go ahead and leave that one the way that it is. All right. So put that guy here. Next up, another pocket page. So when I say we were in the home stretch, we really are, because kind of we're in the back now. We're just kind of adding some pocket pages. So I'm actually going to pull all these pages out now because it'll be easier if I don't keep opening them and closing them. Next up in my book is pocket page that has two 3x4s on top and a 4x6 on the bottom. Process of elimination. We have our Wonder 3x4 card. We have our Teal Airplanes 3x4 card. And we have our Travel Favorites. Travel Favorites. Where is that? Where have I put that? We know we have it because we've got everything else. Oh, here we go. That one's going to go right down there. Super simple. I did use a word strip sticker right here that says heading home. We're kind of maybe towards the end of the trip. We're kind of recapping the trip. We're heading home. Some of our favorites from the trip: place, location, restaurant or cafe, landmark, hidden gem, things like that. Backside, not a lot to do here because we're adding a photo there potentially. I thought I wanted to add a photo here, but the background here is kind of busy, and I was worried that if I added a photo on there, it might kind of get lost. So we're just using a green map piece as a kind of a little mat there, kind of a little photo mat. Nope, not that one. There we go. It is bottom of page 10. That piece is 5.5 by 3.5. So I'll just go ahead and do this like that. Deborah just asked a great question. She said, what am I doing wrong if my rub-ons won't transfer to the top of the pocket page? You want to press really hard, Deborah. So press really hard. Try that. Because when I added mine, I was okay, but you might have to press a little bit harder on the pocket page than you do as you would on a regular piece of paper. So give that a shot. I know, Jennifer, you've been adding die cuts, or excuse me, rub-ons to the pocket pages. If you have any kind of tips on what you did to help them transfer, please, if you're still here, go ahead and pop in the chat and let us know what that is. All right, backside here, photo. I added a little travel log. Oh, you did. You just figured it out. Okay, Deborah. Well, tell us what worked. Did you just press harder? Just curious what it was. So travel log, I did adhere that to not the pocket page, just to the card. And then that adventure, I also adhered not to the pocket page, just the card. All right. Ready to go? Your next one, we are so almost done. Next one is 4x6, yep, just rubbed really hard. Okay, good. Awesome. Next one, another 4x6, 4x6, our travel by the numbers. So this is another kind of recap of the trip. Days you traveled, pieces of luggage that you took, towns or cities visited, temperatures, time zones crossed. So it's just kind of a fun way to recap. That will go along the bottom. In the top, we are now on page 11. Oh, where are we? There we go. Page 11. This piece right here is the back of our, where did it go? I had it. Oh yeah, it's right here. It is the back of that map, the world map card. Like that. If you're adding a photo, you have a piece that we have already cut That is a 3¼ by 3½ light blue maps piece. So it has your, oh my gosh, you can tell I'm getting tired. I'm like, what? It has the airplane windows on the back. So that will go right there if you'd like to add that as a photo mat. And then you have just a couple pieces. You have Go See Do sticker, Vacay Vibes, which is one of your die cuts. You have an arrow and loved this part. The loved this part is one of your little tiny pieces that we cut that's on the back of that. Sometimes it's easier to identify the back. You're like, where is that? That's so I'll just tuck both of those in there for now. Backside, not much. We've got a photo there, but again, we're going to wait to do these two pieces because until we know what photo we want to put there, we don't really know how much room we have. Two things that are happening here. That is one of your little die cuts, and that Go See Do is a rub-on. Sounds like do-si-do, doesn't it? Do-si-do, go see do. Go see do is one of your rub-ons, and it is on the card. All righty. The next two pages are kind of a few tips on what I do with the 6x8 pocket pages. Like I said, the 6x8 pocket pages aren't really my favorite. So sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I use them in a couple of different ways. There are a couple of things that I generally, or one thing that I generally do. We'll hit it in a minute. This guy, that is one of our two 6x8 pocket pages that we have left. So you can grab both right now. That is the backside of your stamps paper. That is going in there. Observations and details. Both of those are adhered or rubbed on, applied. Your rub-on's applied to the top of the pocket page. The details is sticking on the top of the pocket page. So that one, you can pretty much put anything you want in there. If you want to do journaling on this and do some just observations about your trip to kind of wrap up the trip, you could. If you want to add photos there, you could pretty much add whatever you'd like to add there. Now, I'm going to show you the trick here that I wanted to talk about when it came to using washi with your pocket pages. So you don't have the washi in your project kit. If you bought the big bundle, then you have the washi. So I'm just going to open up the far and wide washi and show you something that is kind of fun to do with washi. It can be form and it can be function. What I mean by that is form, it can be decorative. Function, it can be out of necessity. That is not the right tool for that, Lil. Find your scissors. Come on. Use the proper tool here. I'm ready to bleed all over the place by trying to do that with the other thing. The far and wide washi tape is a set. So there are two rolls in, oh my gosh, Lil, come on. There are two rolls in the package. One is narrower than the other because a lot of times when I use washi, I like to layer it. So if I have one roll that is shorter than the other, then I can do that. So I'm just going to show you the washi to start with. So I'm just playing here, and then I'll show you what I like to do sometimes with pocket pages. First, the challenge is finding the end. All right. So this guy has just those really fun travel words, right? So you end up with, I think the repeater in the pattern is at maybe 13 inches. I think that's when your pattern starts to repeat, is after 13 inches. So let me just roll that back on there and show you how I use this. I'd probably do, I don't know, maybe something like that. Let's move that. All right, so it's cute like that, just as a single, but it's kind of plain. Then this little fun guy comes into play. I mean, this is very specific to travel. This is not at all. So the narrower roll is just a really fun rainbow. Kind of a fun rainbow stripe. I mentioned I like to layer them together. So you put that right there, and now it just gives it a nice pop of color. So those are the two rolls of washi that are part of Far and Wide. But I bring that up now when it comes to a pocket page. Sometimes you might feel like something that you're working with is super plain. Like this is super plain, right? I can take washi and I can run it along that little margin, just like that. And standard washi is 15 millimeters wide. That's what this is, 15 millimeters wide. And it just so happens that standard washi is the same kind of width as that, as the margin on the pocket page. So function, no, sorry, form is decorative, right? I have now just decorated. That's prime real estate. That's prime decorating space, right? So this is where you really notice that extra. I'm just going to cut this extra off because it's going to bug me to see that. So then all I would do would be to come back in and repunch the hole. So that is form. Form decorative, meaning just kind of decorating a little bit. But this can also work from a functional perspective. Sometimes we talked about this in part 2. You might have a pocket page that is the same height. So maybe you have Vicky Booten pocket page that you didn't use from one of your past projects with her. It's the same height, but her ring configuration on her albums is different than the standard kind of 2 hole that a lot of other people use. So you might look at one of her pocket pages and go, shoot, I could never use that in my Simple Stories album. And I'd say, oh, yes, you can. All you do is cover up the holes. Once you cover up the holes, now this is just a one rectangle. You can decide where you want the holes to be. So that's function, where you are covering up the holes so you can then make your own holes wherever you want them to be. The second function it could be is sometimes your pocket pages, those holes will tear. And so your page doesn't want to sit in your book. Function again, you can cover up the hole. You'd be repunching it in the same place, but you can cover up the hole to kind of mend the hole. All right. So that is a fun way that I like to use washi sometimes in my pocket pages. So I'm just going to punch these holes so I can add that to my album. And you don't have to have Far and Wide washi to do that. I mean, if you have it or you like it and you think, oh, I want to buy it, you could certainly use Far and Wide washi. But you have other washi that's just kind of you can do whatever you want. All right. And that would just go in my book just like that. So it gives it a totally different look. Prime real estate, prime decorating space, prime real estate. All right. So that was that guy. Now, when it's a travel book, I tend to do this with one of the pocket pages at the very end. I will take one of those 6x8 pockets and I will leave it empty. I will leave it empty and use that as a place to put additional brochures, tuck additional photos in, right? That's just a big pocket. Why not use that? So I just took one of our stickers that said photos and put it on the center of that. It's not even, oh gosh, Lil, that's not even centered. Like, what the heck was I thinking there? I don't even know what I did. Let's get that so it's centered at least. There we go. On the back side of that, I didn't want that sticker to just kind of be hanging out there. So I did one of our, it's kind of your Amsterdam die cut, just goes right there on the back. So now you can use that to put whatever else you want to add in that you're collecting along the way, or souvenirs, memorabilia that you brought home. So that is the last page in the album. That doesn't mean that we're done yet, though, because we now have the inside back cover. Prime decorating space, also prime space to maybe add a few more photos. So let's get our whole album out. We can't just kind of work side by side here. You do have two pieces left in the album that I did not use. You have one extra 6x8 pocket page, and you have this guy. That diagonal insert that came out of the book. So you have whatever you want to do with those. You also have, like I said, you have some paper left over that we didn't use. So you have, um, well, you'll see what you have. You know, you have some different pieces, and if you want to make more pages, you could, whatever you want to do. So let me just kind of move this around so we can try to see both of these as we're working. Let's just try to do this. That'll work. All right. So back inside cover, we have one piece of grid left over. What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. I couldn't see it because it was that. Um, that. I've just put that right there. That is going to be the base of my pocket. Fits there, and we have a nice kind of little craft border all the way around. For our pocket, we have a, gosh, you end up with both of these. When I got to the end, you guys, I never have paper at the end if you've done a project with me, but we've got I mean, there's so many pages in this book, but we still have paper to work with. So you've got those, the fun words on the other side. Just as I'm looking for that piece, you've got that piece left over from our cover. You have those pieces left over to play with. You have some black pieces left. That is whoa, there we go. This is the one that we want. So you have this piece left. It is wider than your piece here, so that's not it. But this one that we're looking for is 5.5 by 4, and that is a pocket. So I'm going to do my little punch here again, and instead of punching in the center, just kind of mix it up a little bit so we're a little bit more maybe right justified. That we need to flip over. We will add our adhesive along the sides and the bottom, like we've been doing all throughout when we create our pockets. We will peel back part of that release paper, create the little tabs sticking out the edge, like so. And that one. As with our other pockets, you can put photos, memorabilia, whatever you would like to put, whatever you'd like to put in your little pocket. And that just goes right there along the bottom. I left a little bit of white space just to kind of break up that pattern at the bottom a little bit. There's like an eighth of an inch, just a tiny bit. Last thing I did, I added this piece, where to next, because we are now done with our trip. And I don't know about you, but sometimes as soon as I'm done with the trip, I'm like, okay, where to next? Where am I going next? So that kind of seemed fitting to put right there. That is one of our little cut apart papers, and it will just go right there. And guess what, you guys? We did it. We finished. Now, you have every page in your book they may not all be done in that you don't have all the little decorations, you don't have the word strip stickers, you haven't adhered some of your die cuts, but your book is done. You've got all the pages in and started. Because that is a really chunky book, right? That is chunky, 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 which is what we like to see. And you haven't even added your photos yet, right? So, can we look at that guy? Done. You are ready to roll. Yay! Congratulations. You did it. I'm going to rotate the camera and we'll kind of just say a few more things and we'll say our goodbyes. I better take a sip of water and then we'll do that. Hi, Anne Margaret. Anne Margaret said she loves it. Oh, I love that you love it. You guys, I don't know. I'd have to go back and count how many. Ooh, there we go. That was just, I didn't quite get that untightened all the way. I have done, I don't know how many travel albums I have done over the years. A lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. And they're one of my favorite projects to do just because I don't know. Hopefully, you love to travel if you're here and you've done the project with me, or maybe you were just stumbled across me and thought, I want to see what this lady's doing. Maybe you don't travel at all, but think there may be some techniques that you learned, maybe how to use rub-ons. Maybe you didn't know how to use rub-ons, or you forgot how to use rub-ons, or maybe techniques about the doors and the different way to do the doors, or how to use those really large those fun large die cuts, whatever it is. I'm proud of you guys because that's a big project. That is a big project between the cutting homework and then now the three-part video because we had some issues with the internet. Now, luckily, we made it to this part three and we didn't have any issues in the part three. I have no clue what's going on, why that happened, but I appreciate you guys sticking with me because I know how frustrating that can be. Um, so there you go. You did it. We're done. What I would suggest for you, um, maybe bookmark this video. Maybe come back to any of these. Next time you're working on a project and you feel stuck and you're like, oh, this is so boring and I don't know what to do. I don't know how to design. I don't know. Come back to this and go, oh yeah, I like how she did that. Or I remember how we created that pocket. Or I remember how we did that little interactive door on the interactive door. You learned the things, you might as well take advantage of what you learned and take them into your future projects, right? I've kind of given you all my, well, not all my secrets, but a lot of my secrets when it comes to doing mini books. So if you watched the free class and you loved it and you're like, oh, I think I learned something from her. Awesome. I love that. I hope that you got a couple things out of this. Hopefully you didn't just sit here to listen to me talk over the last three videos just to, I don't know, listen to me talk. Let's see. I am just going to look at the chat for a minute. Da. Jennifer, thank you. Jennifer said, you never cease to amaze me, and it's a step up with your own product. Love it. This is the second travel collection I've done. The one that I did last year was postcards and passports, and you guys got a little peek at that because you saw the back of that paper cover that we used for the just for the grid. There are a few bits and pieces left. What I mean, there's a few paper packs left. There are a few, I think the stamps are almost gone. I think there's some die cuts left. So if you liked that, when I released Far and Wide, we put that on sale because it's pretty much run its course now and it's done now that we have a new one. But I told you, travel is a huge part of my life. So as long as I continue to do this and I'm manufacturing my own product, you will see us do a travel collection every year because I want a new one every year. I want new stuff to play with. So, but thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. It totally does. It totally changes it when I've got my own product that we're playing with, which is really cool. Especially some of you that know me from way back in the day when I worked for either Scenic Route or when I worked for Basic Gray or when I worked for Simple Stories. Never in a million years thought at one point I'd be like, and this is my collection. That was never on my radar. In fact, I said I would never do it a whole bunch of times, but never say never, right? Never say never. Deborah said it was a marathon. Yes, it absolutely was. Little details here and there, and she's done. See, right? Some of you are really close to being done, which I love that for you. And others of you are not close to being done. And you know what I say? I love that for you. That means you have a project on your to play list, not a to-do list. It's your to play list that you get to come back to and keep working on when you have time. Deborah said this was fantastic. Thank you. I'll take a picture and post it when I give it to my sister this weekend. Yes, I would love to see that. I would love. Ms. L said this was a wonderful class. Thank you for opening it up to everyone. I wasn't sure if I'd like to create a mini book, and now I know I wanted to give it a try. And Ms. L, that's one of the reasons I did it. Because it's my own product, I can afford to do that. I can't do that. I can't open it up for free when I have put together a project kit using someone else's product because it's really the product is how I make a living. And so if it's someone else's product and I give you the class using someone else's product, you can go buy that product wherever you want. But that you really can't do here because it's my product and you can get it from me. So I love that you took a chance and thought, I'm going to watch this free class and get a feel for something I think I'd like to do. So I love that. Let's see. Jennifer says, will you sell your paper open stock? Jennifer, I have no plans to do that at this time. What Jennifer means, what she's asking is right now when you buy, I was just looking off to the side. Right now when you buy the paper, You buy it like this, right? It is all in this collection, it's all 12 sheets and it is a pack. You cannot order just maybe you're like, oh, Leo, I love this sheet and I want to get more of just this one. I don't do that because I do not have retailers that carry my product, which means um, I would be selling single sheets of paper. If I was selling to retailers, they'd be buying 25 sheets from me. If I was selling open stock, I'd end up with lots of this paper and some of this one, and not very many of this one, and none of that one. So when I order it from my printer, this is how I get it. It's all shrink wrapped and everything. The full paper kit is already shrink wrapped. So that is why I don't, because I'd have to open up all those and then we'd have a lot of this paper and some of that paper. And there's a reason. And maybe it's not the reason that we like, but there's a reason. That's why I do it that way, or don't do it that way, I guess I should say. But that's a good question. I know sometimes need an extra piece. I know. I get it. As a consumer, I totally get it. I'm like, no, Lil, I want to have 5 pieces of that one paper. But as a business, that's why I don't open stock it because I'd have a whole bunch of loose sheets that we were, because I don't have a brick and mortar store for people to kind of, anyhow, that's why. And I appreciate that. She said, makes sense, but I'm sad, but makes sense. Yes, I appreciate that. All right, friends. So we're done. We're done. If you have any questions, maybe you've watched this on a replay and something maybe didn't quite make sense to you, the chat will be over as soon as I end this. So you can't kind of ask in the chat. You can get me 2 different ways. You can leave a comment on the video when it's over. I will see that and reply to it. Or you can go to lailbymail.com and click contact us. If you've just watched and you're like, hey, I like that product, I want to pick it up. Links in the description box of the video to the far and wide collection on my website at lailbymail.com. It is open, it's not open stock, but it is a la carte. So you can buy just the die cuts or just the rub-ons or just the stickers or just the paper pack. Yeah, I think that's all. There's probably 8 more things that I want to tell you, but I'm probably, let's not kid yourself. I'm ready for bed. And if you're still here, you're probably ready for bed too. So I'm going to say a good night. I'm going to say farewell. Oh, that's right, Terry. There were a couple things that weren't included in the project kit. We looked at the washi because I showed you some ways you could use some tips for using washi. There's a 6x8 paper pad in this collection too. So that is available a la carte. And then there's 3 stamp sets that are also available a la carte that we didn't put in the project kit. We just didn't use them. So, Lael, we are still both up. Call if you can so Bob can talk to you. Terry, let's touch base tomorrow and see if we can set up a time to talk. Is that okay? Does that work? I can't guarantee that whatever we talk about will even make sense to me at this point. So if we could do that, that would be awesome. I would love to be able to catch you, or maybe Bob could relay to you if he's not available tomorrow or something. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate that. And please tell Bob, thank you. All right, friends, I'm going to go to bed. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the project. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned some things. And again, thank you so much for your patience with the weird internet that we've had going on here the last 2 days. Yesterday, I know 100%. Last night, part one, and no, part one was last night. Holy cow. Part two was tonight, and three. Part one was 100% due to the storm. Nick was checking the internet speeds and he could see what was happening. I mean, he could see our uploads and downloads were all over the board, getting really slow. So that's what was going on. But tonight, no, I don't know. So we're going to research, we're going to figure out what's going on, and we'll go from there. Thanks for joining me, you guys, tonight. Have a great evening. Have a great day if you're watching in the middle of the day. And I hope to see you soon. Bye.